Back in Muncie, Indiana, it's Game 2, Bowling Green and Ball State here on ESPN3. Game 1 went to Ball State. Big offensive explosion, 18-run differential. Bowling Green looks to bounce back here in Game 2. Beautiful day back here in Muncie, Indiana. Ball State 2-0 against Bowling Green. Already this series, look to take the series. Here with the sweep with Evan Marquardt on the mound for Ball State here in Game 3. Hello everyone, thanks for joining us inside the broadcast booth. Quentin Zilke alongside. I'm Mick Tidrow. Well, Quentin, at 23 runs put up by Ball State's offense, Sean Kennedy led the way.
Yeah, Sean Kennedy was great, having 9 RBIs in that of those 23, and he was just the consistent hitter for this consistent Ball State offense that we've seen over the past 6 games. They've been so good in all assets, helped with good pitching that they've seen in the past 2 days.
Bowling Green just 5 hits, 5 runs to show for against the Ball State offense. But Sean Kennedy, once again, he had such a strong performance here today. He looks to bring that into game number 2.
Yeah, Sean Kennedy is looking to bring his performance from game 1 into game number 2. However, Bowling Green is looking for their seniors to step up in this big game and get a big game out of Zach Corey, who's their starting pitcher for this game.
Greg Basilega, a player to watch for Bowling Green here today too. But let's take a look how the first game shakedown between Ball State and Bowling Green. It was 23 runs for Ball State's offense compared to just 5 runs for Bowling Green. In that first game, Kevin Martin started on the mound for Ball State in that first game.
Kevin Martin was very efficient on the mound, and they got help from all parts of their offense. You see Sean Kennedy there. He had 9 RBIs and went 5 for 5 with 5 extra base hits. And then Kevin Martin was great on the mound. Ball State hopes that they can get more from their Marquardt in this game.
Marquardt, the starting pitcher for game number 3 for Ball State here today. Bowling Green trots out much of the same lineup, a little bit of a difference with Greg Basilega. He's still in that lineup with Randy Ryder. But the pitching matchup today for this third game starts off with Evan Marquardt on the mound for the home team and Ball State.
Greg Basilega has been a consistent bat for them. Zach Carey has been a consistent pitcher on the mound for Bowling Green. As you see there, 49 in the third innings with just a 3.28 ERA. He's been very consistent in the MAC. Evan Marquardt for Ball State, his record doesn't show how good he's pitched and how well he's controlled the strike zone lately. He's thrown really well coming off a big game against Western Michigan where he looked very good.
2-4 record for Evan Marquardt, Ball State's starting right-handed pitcher. Here in game number 2, 34 innings pitched for Marquardt against Zach Carey, Bowling Green starting pitcher. Let's take a look at Ball State's defensive alignment. Much of the same from the first game. Caleb State and Sean Kennedy, Seth Freed and Alex Maloney right to left in the infield. Rowan Bisa, Matt Eppers, and Jeff Riedel start in the outfield. Left to right, Griffin Alecki, the battery mate of Evan Marquardt. Bowling Green starting lineup led off by Jake Wilson for the third time this series, the center fielder. Impressive so far this series, a couple of extra base hits. R.J. Williams starts for the first time in right field, had an incredible diving catch. In that first game, Cam Doherty, Randy Ryder, Basilega, Dravis, Mott, Scott, and then Glansman slides back down from the 2 spot in the order back to the 9th spot where he had success in the first game. Evan Marquardt takes the hill.
Evan Marquardt, you can look to see him today use his off-speed pitches to work ahead early. Also has an overpowering fastball and has a great over-the-top delivery to home. Expect him to be big and consistent for this Ball State team on the mound today.
37 strikeouts, just 17 walks for the tall starting right-handed pitcher for Ball State here today. And he gets to go to work against Wilson, who started off the first game with a double, came around to score on a Greg Basilega sacrifice fly. Bowling Green had a lead in that first game, but Ball State's offense, Quentin, strong offense all the way through, took the lead immediately in the bottom half of the first. So
yeah, their offense was able to capitalize all game. Every time that Bowling Green got runners on and runs in, their offense just came storming back for Ball State, and they answered all the question marks that were going on before the game. They answered them in that game.
So here we go. Evan Marquardt takes the hill, wind blowing out to straightaway center field. Pitch on the outside corner, and Evan Marquardt starts off game number 2 at the strike.
Yeah, Evan Marquardt, nice pitch there. I like his delivery, though. straight over the top delivery. Hard to see as a hitter coming straight over the top, especially with the tall pitcher that he is.
Bowling Green 9-21 this year, 4 inside the Mid-American Conference. Ball State now 17-18 as Wilson punches one foul.
Wilson hopping around as if he may have tweaked something on the run to first base there. But he's jogging back into the box, so looks to be fine.
Ball State 5-6 inside the MAC. One more win, they pull even the MAC and overall as well. 17-18, 5-6. So an important game for Ball State, not only to keep a winning streak, but to also get back to 500 in the MAC and climb up into the top 8.
Yeah, Ball State they've been playing great baseball lately, and they have all the confidence in the world right now, coming off of some big wins and some big run-producing wins. So here in this game, if they can get back to 500 and get all their stats headed upright as they've been lately, just expect them to keep this win streak going and keep padding their stats.
Marquardt this year, that 2-4 record, full count against Wilson. Nearly ties up Wilson, but a check swing and a walk to begin today's game.
Lucky looked like he wanted to check that with the third base umpire, but the home plate umpire was not having it. He trusted himself and didn't think that they went around on that.
Wilson draws his 10th walk of the season. For somebody who's not started every single game, that's 4th on the team. R.J. Williams takes a strike.
R.J. Williams is a guy we've seen step up in his 2 performances. In game 1 of this series, he actually pinch hit in the 9th inning and drove the ball over the left field wall, showing his power to the opposite field. And then last game, coming in at right field, he had a sweet diving catch to rob Bias of a double. And I'd assume that that's why he's up in the 2 spot in this game. And
has a chance to bring some offense for Bowling Green. Williams hitting 111 this year. Does have a home run that came yesterday in the first game of this series. 2 runs batted in. Started now 9 games.
R.J. Williams right on that pitch there, fouling it straight back into the net. Barreled that ball up, but just unable to get the bat fully on it.
So Jake Wilson has reached base safely in consecutive games to get play underway. Williams punches it to left. Bison on the run to make the grab.
A good run there by Bison. A ball that was hit pretty hard off the bat of R.J. Williams out into left field. I think he hit that ball too hard, was unable to drop in front of Bias out there in left field.
Brings up Cam Doherty, the third baseman. Doherty in game 1 yesterday had a 2-for-4 game. But then earlier today had 3 strikeouts and 2 walks. This time he lifts the 1-0 pitch deep to left field. Bison takes 2 steps toward the warning track and looks up. Cam Doherty, 2-run blast, and Bowling Green's on the board. Not a bad way to try and bounce back from a 23-5 loss in game 1.
Yeah, beautiful swing there by Doherty, and once again, Bowling Green is ahead early, as they were last game. A nice pitch there at the belt that he's able to fully extend his hands on and just belts that ball over the left field wall. Bison didn't even take a step towards it. He just looked up and knew that ball was gone. Nice swing there by Cam Doherty.
It's Randy Ryder in the batter's box now. Bowling Green, back-to-back games of scoring first. Marquardt has now given up 2 home runs on the season. Ball State is 3-13 when the other team scores first. That includes the earlier game today. So before today, just a 2-13 record. Got to win after Bowling Green scored in that first inning earlier today.
Yeah, well, Coach Schmidt just talked about that they need a shutdown half after Bowling Green scores and takes the lead. So we'll see if they can get that in the bottom half of this inning.
Ryder goes around, and Marquardt records his first strikeout here today. 2 down, but Cam Doherty already delivering a 2-run homer.
The designated hitter, number 6, Greg Vasilevsky.
A nice pair of off-speed pitches there from Marquardt. Got Ryder out on his front foot and just was unable to make contact with it.
Power hitting Basilega in the box. Basilega, the DH. Had an 0-for-3 performance in the first game. Did have a run on the sacrifice fly. Count is even, a ball and a strike.
On that last pitch, Basilega, being a big hitter that he is, whenever he sees a fastball, he wants to attack it, but just a little bit too aggressive and had that check swing for a strike.
Quentin, after the game that happened before earlier today, Bowling Green only 5 runs. How can they come back and start to try and push this against Ball State and put that pressure on them?
Well, I think that they have already so far. They've just been able to hit the ball to all gaps. As you see, Basilega, they're taking the ball into right center and using that outside pitch to go with it and take it into right center. Just more of that, attacking Marquardt's fastball that they've done well doing so far. I expect them to just use Marquardt's fastball to really catapult their offense.
Basilega's first hit of the series, Quentin. He was 0-for-7 before that at-bat. Puts one into right center field and a double.
Yeah, he's actually been our player to watch going into this series, and he was hitting the ball well coming into the series, as we mentioned. And I just have been surprised with how he's acted at the plate. I give all props to the Ball State pitchers so far.
That's his 5th double of the season. Good for second on this Bowling Green roster to bring up Derek Dravis. Dravis has started every game against Ball State. Hitters a .272 batting average against Marquardt this year. Wind has picked up. It was around the 18-19 mile per hour mark in the first game, gusting a little bit more. Straightaway center field, Quentin. We could see a couple more home runs.
Yeah, we saw a few in the first game, and now you mentioned it's blowing even harder, so I wouldn't be surprised to see more than the one that we've already seen.
The Marquardt's fallen behind. 3 balls, 1 strike to Dravis.
Expect Dravis here, if he gets a good pitch, he's going to put a big swing on this ball and try to use that wind that we're talking about to his advantage.
3-1 curveballs downstairs, and Dravis works a 2-out walk.
A good job there by Dravis, laying off of a close pitch there, but either way, you don't want that 3-1 curveball. With 3-1, you want a fastball that you can do some damage with, and great job there by Dravis staying off of that pitch.
Justin Mott set to do up for Bowling Green, and already Coach Maloney of Ball State taking a slow walk out to the mound to talk with Evan Marquardt. Mott did not start earlier today in the first game of the doubleheader. It was Scott behind the plate. Scott has moved to left field for this game. He bats behind Mott. And John Baker already loosening up in the Ball State bullpen. He's gone nearly the distance in a couple of games this year for Ball State, so nearly used as a spot starter in situations, could come in long relief of Evan Marquardt if things go that way for head coach Maloney and he wants to make that change. Baker's been impressive.
Yeah, the freshman Baker has been really impressive off the bench and coming in off the from the bullpen. I expect him to come in here at some point today, whether it's early or whether it's later on in the game. If Marquardt can find a rhythm, he's been great and been efficient. So I hope we get to see him today.
It's Mott in the batter's box. First game went 0 for 3. But comes into this game with a team-high 298 batting average over Greg Basilega by just a hair. Basilega 296.
Justin Mott swung the bat well yesterday. Although he is 5'9", he showed some power driving the ball to the left center gap. Although it was caught yesterday, it was out at the warning track, and with the wind blowing in on a day like yesterday, that ball probably would have been out today.
Ground balls are a pitcher's best friend today, Quentin.
Yeah, that's for sure. Keep the ball low.
Marquardt falls behind 3-1 to Mott.
You mentioned keeping the ball low. We've already seen this inning, Marquardt left the ball up to Cam Doherty, and that ball was well over the fence. So that just gives you another reason to keep the ball low here, especially after seeing what Doherty has done to it.
Mott with the check swing went around, puts the count full. Marquardt one pitch away from working out of this one and letting the offense go back to work. Payoff pitch, runners take off, and Mott fouls it off.
Mott has been good all year in these situations, only 9 strikeouts on the year, so don't expect him to go down without a fight.
7th pitch of the at-bat upcoming from Marquardt. Runners take, Marquardt delivers, curve outside. Back-to-back walks to load things up for Bowling Green. Early activity by Ball State in the bullpen. John Baker continues to warm up.
The left fielder, number 10, Jim Scott.
Quentin, 3 straight curveballs by Marquardt. Is there a strategy to do that against somebody like Mott?
Well, Mott, as a good hitter and not a hitter that strikes out a lot, you want to keep him on his toes and don't want to keep throwing him fastballs that he's just going to keep making you waste pitches for. So that's the only reason I can think of throwing him 3 straight curveballs there in that situation.
That leads the way for Jeff Scott, who has a chance to blow this one wide open, Quentin. 2-0 Bowling Green already in the top half of the first. Kirkland, Indiana native. Had a base hit in the first game of the second inning. Puts this one foul, behind at the count 0-2.
A little ahead of that pitch there. If he would have stayed back a little bit, he would have been able to drive that ball into right field, but he was a little ahead of it and just nicked off the end of his bat for a foul ball. It's a nice 0-2 pitch there for Marquardt. Give him a fastball at the numbers. See, a lot of hitters will bite on that pitch, especially at this level. They love to attack that high fastball, so I like that pitch there, 0-2 for Marquardt.
Marquardt the 1-2, pummeled back up the middle. Eppers takes it on the one hop. 1 run comes in to score, rounding third and heading home. To score another run is Dravis, and Bowling Green, a 4-run lead. And head coach Maloney for Ball State walks out of the dugout for the second time in this inning. But Scott extends Bowling Green's lead.
Yeah, Scott, a nice job there, getting on top of that curveball and getting his bat head out in front of it and able to drive that ball straight up the middle.
So a short outing for Evan Marquardt, 2/3 of work, 3 hits, 4 earned runs. And it was the walks here, Quentin, that hurt Marquardt early. 3 walks, 3 hits, and 2 more coming to score on that 2 RBI single by Scott.
Yeah, good job there hitting by Scott. And we've talked a lot this series so far is just how Ball State's pitchers have been so efficient and how they haven't had to use many pitchers, and that's proven early here that that's been good for them, that they've only used 4 arms out of their bullpen, and now they can go here to Baker early.
John Baker's in after 2/3 from Evan Marquardt, the freshman from Heartland, Michigan. Has made 5 starts, a lot of work out of the bullpen. Nearly 32 innings worked, great 3-1 record, sub-3 ERA.
Yeah, he's done really well, especially this past game on Tuesday against Valparaiso. He looked very good in that matchup there. A game that they won 11-2.
I'll send it down to John Gordman down by the field.
Guys, I had a chance for just a brief moment to talk to head coach Rich Maloney of Ball State and ask him, after 23 runs, how do you kind of convince your team that it's a new game and to put that behind them? And he said that's actually a very challenging part to do as a head coach, but he's telling the team to start over and that it's a new game going into today. He actually referenced how one time when he was an assistant coach for Western Michigan, the first game of a doubleheader there, they scored 21 runs. The next game, they only had 1 hit.
Quite the turnaround, and head coach Maloney wants to not see that here today, but Bowling Green has put 4 runs on the board through 2 outs, and now it's up to John Baker to try and get out of the inning with runners at first and third, and the number 9 hitter Nick Glansman, who has produced like a middle of the order guy.
Yeah, Glansman, we saw move up in the order for game 2 of this series, but back down to the bottom of the lineup where we saw him produce big yesterday, having a few line drives to all parts of the field. He's been great this series and has been a consistent hitter from the bottom of the lineup and the top of the lineup.
Glansman was 2 for 4 yesterday in game 1. A couple of runs batted in. Then earlier today in the first game of the doubleheader, went 1 for 4 with a single.
As John mentioned, how hard it is to restart these doubleheaders and to start the second game, especially after scoring nearly 25 runs in the first game. Sometimes as a coach, you just want to split up those runs and say, hey, I'll take 12 in the first game and 13 in the second rather than 25 in one.
Absolutely, and especially with the start like this from Bowling Green. Glansman lays down a bunt. It's foul, now it's 0-2. Good start from Baker.
Yeah, Baker's thrown well here early, using that fastball just to get ahead of these hitters already. Expect him to go back to it here on a close pitch. I expect it on the outside corner, and just keep a close pitch here, 0-2.
9th batter to hit in the order for Bowling Green to start off the game, up and out.
That ball nearly came up here and hit us.
I'm expecting you to have all the hands everywhere, Quentin. Long arm span.
Yeah, I could get us up here. On that last pitch, Scott over at first was headed towards second on a steal.
Nearly hits the inside from Baker. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
I like that pitch there from Baker. It's an ideal 1-2 pitch when you're ahead. Like as I've said before, you want to hit the corners, and that was a great pitch right there in the inside corner. Call could have gone either way.
Baker with the 2-2 pitch off the outside.
Runner will be stealing here on a 3-2, 2 out. So they tell Caleb Staten over at first base not to hold him on and let him take off.
Runner goes, full count pitch delivered. Glansman fights it down the first baseline, foul territory, and Staten puts it away. For the final out here at the top of the first, 4 runs come across to score. The big blow, the 2-run homer by Cam Doherty to get things going for Bowling Green. Game 2 starting off a little bit different for Bowling Green as they're on top after half an inning. 4 runs for Bowling Green to kick off the second game of the doubleheader today from Muncie. Ball State's bats look to come alive, starting off with Roman Baisa in left field, Alex Maloney at third. Staten, Kennedy, and Freed put the 3, 4, and 5 spots on the order. Trent Tyson gets to start at DH instead of Colin Brockhouse. Griffin Alecki, Matt Eppers, and Jeff Riedel are the bottom of the order for head coach Maloney. The defense for Danny Schmitz and Bowling Green are Jeff Scott, Jake Wilson, and R.J. Williams left to right in the outfield. Randy Ryder, Derek Dravis, Nick Glansman, and Cam Doherty right to left in the infield. Behind the dish is Mott, the battery mate for the starting pitcher, Zach Carey for Bowling Green. Bicep pops the 0-1 pitch down the left field line. Scott on the run, drops down and rolls all the way to the fence in the corner. Bicep hard turn around second base, into third. The throw is late, diving head first, and Bicep leadoff triple in the bottom of the first. Much needed for Ball State after 4 runs surrendered in the top of the inning.
Yeah, Bicep doing a good job driving that ball down the left field line, and he thought it was just a pop-up when he hit it. Luckily, he started running straight out of the box and got a little help from the turf there with the ball bouncing high and taking a weird hop with the spin that it had, and he was able to slide in safely into third. A nice start for the Cardinals and for Bicep.
First triple of the season for Bicep. In scoring position for Alex Maloney, who swings at the first pitch and lifts it to center field. Wilson's there, makes the catch, tosses it into the cutoff man Ryder, and Bice's in. Sacrifice fly for Alex Maloney. Ball State's back on the board.
A nice team play there by Maloney. Although he takes the first out, he's able to get a run in and get the Ball State offense moving and get on the scoreboard early here for Ball State.
Now it's the third man in the order, Caleb State, who had himself a productive first game. A single, home run, sac fly, walk, and a single. Quentin, quite the performance from the number 3 hitter.
Yeah, Caleb Staten was huge in that first game, and he's been big all season for this Cardinal lineup. I expect him to possibly go yard again here today with the wind blowing out and him hitting the ball as well as he is.
Carey evens up the count, a ball and a strike.
A nice pitch there by Carey. As you've seen this year, 3-2 on the year with a 3.28 ERA over nearly 50 innings. His strikeout to walk ratio is huge for him, and he works ahead and will stay ahead, as you see there with the amount of strikeouts that he has on the season.
What can Carey bring to the table here today to help Bowling Green get a victory in the series finale?
Well, I think just commanding his fastball and keeping them ahead. This inning especially will be big for him in order to get a shutdown half and get the Bowling Green bats back in their dugout.
6-3 put out. Glansman over, retires big smooth Caleb Staten. Now it's Sean Kennedy, who had himself a career day. First game today, 5 for 5, just 3 home runs. Casually 9 runs batted in.
Casually.
Not to mention a double and a triple. Single shy of the cycle.
If he does anything short of that this game, I don't think he'll ever see the field again.
Average is only climbing above 330 now at this point. Count is even from Carey, a ball and a strike. Kennedy rips the 1-1 pitch down the left field line, drops in for a base hit, and there's the single that Kennedy needed to complete the cycle in the first game. So if we want to give it to him, Quentin, we could say he had a cycle over the 2 games.
Right, he had a cycle on the day, exactly what you just said. A cycle for the day. Nobody needs to know whether it was 1 or 2 games. Does a good job here just staying inside and throwing his hands to take that inside pitch right down the left field line for a single.
Seth Freed at the plate, finished up 0 for 4 in the first game, tries to erase that. The strong performance against Zach Carey. Freed this year batting .256. Does have 2 long balls and 12 runs batted in from that 5th spot. Has slid 5 through 7 in the order, mixed around. Really versatile player for head coach Maloney. Yeah,
he's been very good, mixing around in the lineup and on the field. As you mentioned, those 2 home runs. When he gets that inside fastball, he tends to turn on it and take it down the right field line for multiple base hits.
Pops this one in foul territory, and Ryder makes the play to retire Freed. Ball State puts on 1 run here in the bottom half of the first, and Alex Maloney sacrifice fly to score Roman Bisa after a leadoff triple to cut Bowling Green's lead down to 3. Let's send it down to the third member of our broadcast crew, John Gordon.
Guys, last time we talked about Rich Maloney and what he was able to say to his team after game 1 of this doubleheader. Well, I also talked to Danny Schmitz, head coach for Bowling Green, and he simply put it that there's 3 phases to a baseball game, and it's pitching, defense, and batting. And that Bowling Green in the first game of this doubleheader lost all 3. But he was eminent in saying to his team after the game that this is the most important game of the year, and they must win a few of these phases if they want to avoid getting swept.
John, an important game for sure for this Bowling Green team, trying to avoid a sweep. Ball State trying to secure its 2nd straight series sweep. Did that against Western Michigan last weekend. That was when the success started to roll for Ball State. Now the Cardinals' 6-game winning streak, best in the Mid-American Conference up to this point. They send out John Baker after relieving Evan Marquardt in the top of the first.
Yeah, John Baker, he was good filling in the first inning, and as John mentioned, defense plays such a huge role for these, for the Ball State Cardinals. It goes unmentioned because of how dominant their bats have been, but they've had 0 or 1 error over the last 6 games that they've won. So their defense has played a huge part, and leading the way for their defense has been Matt Eppers in center field.
So far, clean defensively in this game through 1 for both teams. Baseball smacked around the yard already, 5 runs combined with the 1 inning. And now it's back to the top of the order. Jake Wilson, who drew it off base, set to begin the game.
We saw Wilson try to bunt for a hit in his first at-bat today. I wonder if he'll go back to that during this at-bat, although he already is down 1-1 in the count.
New Lowell, Ontario native for Jake Wilson. Continues to produce at the plate in just his freshman season. Slaps the 1-1 pitch down the left field line. Bisa gives it a chase, but runs out of real estate. A ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, off the bat there, that ball looks similar to Bisa's, who hit the triple in the first inning for Ball State, but that ball just tailed and unable to be pushed in fair territory from the wind.
Wilson tabbed as the Mid-American Conference preseason freshman of the year by D1Baseball.com. High praise for a freshman from Ontario. As the 1-2 pitch is a high chopper to first. Staten recovers, underhanded toss. Baker's there. What a play from both State and Baker to hold on and retire Wilson.
Staten has been a key in their defensive success, having only 1 error on the season. He's been a stellar player over there for Ball State at first base.
Brings up R.J. Williams, a fly out to left in his first at-bat.
As you see on the previous play, a close play over there, but Ball State was able to get over there and get that out.
Baker just in time, the right foot.
Right, good job there by Baker. Doing his PFPs, which stands for pitcher fielding their position, and getting over to first base.
Those are an underrated part of a game. And PFPs, they say, can be one of the hardest things to do. Pitchers practice all the time, but it's so tough to get over there, run, touch the base.
Yeah, by this time in your career, like, you have to have mentally that every time there's a ball over to the right side, I need to be headed that way, whether it's to first base, second base. I always need to be headed in that way as a pitcher. And as you see there, he was able to get over there and be there for the out from Staten.
Baker the 1-2. Williams fights it off.
Wouldn't be surprised if Baker goes back to that inside fastball. Looked like R.J. Williams was a little bit behind that there and got jammed on it. So I wouldn't be surprised if he went right back into that same pitch.
Baker with the 2-2 pitch to Williams. Williams chases, comes up empty.
A nice pitch there on the outer half from Baker. Able to get R.J. Williams with that 2-strike pitch. You see here R.J. Williams just not able to get his hands out in time, a little behind that ball, and a good job to squeeze it back there by Griffin Halecki.
Second strikeout for this Bowling Green lineup. First by Baker with Cam Doherty at the plate. Struck first with that 2-run homer in the first.
Yeah, that was a big swing there, and I would expect them to keep the ball low to Doherty here because he can hit the ball a long ways if he get the ball at his belt or higher.
That was just Doherty's second home run and 5th and 6th runs batted in this year. Sliding up to the 3rd spot in the order for the majority of this series.
A nice off-speed pitch that broke right away from Doherty there. That was a great pitch from Baker, and I wouldn't be surprised to come back to it if he's throwing it for a strike here.
Two balls, 2 strikes with 2 down. Baker to Doherty, swinging. Doherty's down on strikes. John Baker, a 1-2-3, top of the 2nd inning, including 2 strikeouts to put away Bowling Green's offense after a 4-run first.
Yeah, Baker did a good job this inning, controlling the curveball and getting ahead of hitters.
Gusty day in Muncie, Indiana, doubleheader here on ESPN3. Ball State took game number 1 of this doubleheader, 23-5. But Bowling Green came out swinging in the top of the first, put 4 runs on the board, and own a 4-1 lead against Ball State. Trent Tyson faces Zach Carey to begin the bottom of the 2nd and takes a strike on the outside corner.
Yeah, Tyson came in last game in game 2. He hit the ball well, so not surprised to see him in the lineup for Maloney, especially going with the righty against lefty matchup.
A double and a triple for Trent Tyson. Off of the bench, one of Ball State's 5 catchers that have seen time playing this season. Tyson today, the DH. Ahead in the count against Carey, 2-1. Tyson hitting .273. 5 runs batted in. Both of his extra base hits earlier today were the first 2 of the season.
A little ahead of that pitch there for Tyson, just skews the ball down the right field line. If he can stay back here, look for him to drive the ball into the right center gap.
Head coach Maloney's talked so much about Tyson and how much power he possesses, and a lot of that from that left side. Can use it all the way on the fields.
A great pitch there by Carey on the outside corner. The umpire hasn't been giving that pitch all day, but they've consistently hit it. And Tyson draws the walk there. A good at bat there from Tyson.
Leadoff base runner for the 2nd straight inning for Ball State is Roman Bison with a leadoff triple. Scored on a sacrifice fly for Ball State's only run. Now it's Griffin Halecki. Had a solo home run in the first game today. Halecki's average at .308, which is 4th best on the team. 11 runs batted in for the starting catcher.
Fooled there by a good changeup or a good curveball from Carey. Halecki, a pitcher or a hitter who likes to attack fastballs and drive fastballs, so.
Six straight victories for Ball State, and Quentin, a lot of that's been aided by Halecki behind the plate and in the batter's box.
Yeah, he's played really well in both of those aspects. Really helping his pitchers and calling good pitches from behind the dish. He's done a great job this series and over the past 6 games.
One of the most interesting things about Halecki, he was supposed to be a pitcher coming into this season. Got moved back to the catcher spot. Laces this one foul down the right field line. And then has even played right field, a little bit of third base, has seen it everywhere on the field this year for head coach Maloney, and he's been so versatile. That's why he's in the lineup almost every day.
Yeah, well, with the impact that he can have from anywhere, he's always going to have that impact at the plate, so Maloney needs him in the lineup wherever he is, whether it's DH, catcher, right field, third base. He's been efficient this year in all those positions, and he's been a staple for this Ball State team.
Pushes the count, full against Carey. Bottom half of the second, Ball State trails by 3 runs. Fights it off. 7th pitch of the at-bat upcoming.
Great job there by Halecki, just spoiling that low pitch. Would have been a close pitch. Don't know whether the umpire would have called it a ball or a strike, so it's a good job as a hitter to just foul that pitch off and get a better pitch or take the walk in the next pitch.
Carey, the payoff pitch, bounce back up the middle, off of Glansman's glove into center. Tyson, a hard turnaround second, pulls into third. And a single by Griffin Halecki puts runners at the corners. Ball State back in business. Tying run to the plate, Matt Eppers.
Yeah, a nice job there by Halecki, staying on that high pitch and just able to take it up the middle. Tough play there for Glansman. Looked to get that ball and step on second base, but when he stretched for second base, he was unable to come up with it, and a base hit for Halecki.
Potential game changer with the way that one rolls instead of a potential 2-out play. Now nobody down with Ball State's hottest hitter at the plate. Outside of Sean Kennedy, Eppers, a .333 average, which is exactly tied with Sean Kennedy this year at the top of the Ball State order. A home run, 19 runs batted in. And Eppers has a chance to get Ball State on the board once again and reel in this 3-run deficit.
The senior Eppers has been huge for this team, just sparking the bottom of the lineup and having that carry over to the top of the lineup. Eppers has been huge lately, and he's just been great. You see Bowling Green's assistant pitching coach there, Rick Blank. He's been good talking to his pitchers, and so hopefully what he had to say to Zach Carey really resonates in his game, and he's able to come out and work ahead here against Eppers.
Entering today's game, Eppers is 18 for his last 24 at-bats. And he rips this one to deep left center field. Wilson back on the run in center. Drops down for extra bases. In to score is Tyson. Coach Maloney waving Halecki around third. The throw in from the cutoff man is not in time as Griffin Halecki slides in safely. And a 2-run double for Matt Eppers. Ball State trails by just 1.
Beautiful swing there from Eppers. We talked so much about his power and how he's able to drive the ball gap to gap and just be a staple from the bottom of this lineup. And you see there him continue to hit the ball well, just staying on that curveball that was low in the zone, but he was able to get the barrel of the bat to it and drive it out into left center. Just a rocket off the bat of Eppers.
Strong inning for Ball State. Nobody down. 2 runs in to score already. And it's now Jeff Riedel, the right fielder. He's had success against Bowling Green's pitching so far this year. Earlier today in the first game of the double dip, 1 for 3. Had a double, was hit by a pitch. Now has a chance to tie the game with Eppers, the tying run at second.
You see the umpire there point at the batter's box. That's because Jeff Riedel fouled that ball off of himself. And if he were to be out of the batter's box, then he would have been out because the ball hit him off the bat and he was outside of the batter's box. But luckily for Ball State, he was still inside the batter's box, and that counts as a foul ball.
Eppers on the base pads, a perfect 6 for 6 in stolen bases. A modest lead at second.
Not surprised to see Riedel here, possibly thinking about a sacrifice bunt, and Coach Maloney giving him that sign, just especially with Baez on deck, who tripled in his first at bat. I'm not surprised to see them want to get a guy into scoring position for Baez.
Riedel gets it down. Carey no look to third, throw to first. Riedel nearly beats it, but sacrifice successful. Tying run 90 feet away.
A good job there by Riedel, just getting the job done, and as you said, he was almost able to beat that out, and not the best of bunts. That just shows his speed that he has down the line and his ability to get out of the batter's box there.
Roman Bicel already 1 for 1, a triple to lead off the bottom of the first. Came in to score on an Alex Maloney sacrifice fly. Has a chance to tie it up for Ball State. First pitch swinging, liner to left. In for a base knock, extra bases for Bicel. Game is all tied up as Eppers comes in to score from third. RBI double, Roman Bicel.
Perfect job here by Eppers, going with that outside pitch and taking it to the left center gap. You've seen him go to the opposite field of both of his at-bats today for a pair of extra base hits. He's seeing the ball well in this game, and a good job there by driving in the tying run for Ball State.
Well, it started with Bowling Green. 4 runs in the first inning, led by a Cam Doherty 2-run home run. But Ball State a run in the bottom half of that inning, and now 3 in here in the second. Just 1 down. Heart of the order due up, Alex Maloney.
Yeah, Alex Maloney has been big, and he's seen the ball well now also, as is their whole lineup. Right on the plate here, I wouldn't expect Carey to go at him with too many inside pitches, because we all know that the damage that Maloney can have, and first base is open with an out. You may look to put him on, and with a slow hitter like Maloney on, or with a slow hitter like Staten on deck, you may put him on base and pitch around him and hope for a double play.
Maloney ahead, 2 balls, no strikes against Carey. Carey the 2-0 pitch, pummeled by Maloney, but right to Glansman, back to second, a double play. Heads up by Glansman to toss it back to Dravis, and Bice's doubled up. Bice can't believe it. But Ball State ties it up. 3 runs in the bottom of the second. We're all not at 4 after 2 innings. More offense from Muncie. 8 combined runs, 4-4 after 2 innings. Bowling Green and Ball State. Earlier this week, we had a chance to catch up with Griffin Halecki, who has a hit today on one of the segments of Bring It Home.
We're down on the field here with Griffin Halecki, catcher and pitcher for Ball State here. Bring it home. We'll start this thing off. Griffin, favorite type of sandwich?
Got to be PB&J.
Why is it PB&J?
It's the perfect amount of protein, perfect amount of calories, and it's good.
You've played a lot of different positions this year. What would you say your favorite position is?
Whatever the team needs. Right now they need a catcher, and we have a lot of good players on the team, but I guess my niche is kind of fell in the pitcher category, or the catcher category, excuse me. And, I'm just living it up.
Best joker on the team?
Matt Eppers.
Matt Eppers, why is Matt the funniest?
You never know when he's serious or not.
Griffin Halecki, bring it home. You're on Ball State baseball.
I have to contend that Griffin is probably up there with Eppers as one of the funniest players on Ball State baseball. But Griffin, special thanks to him on the Bring It Home segment. Already a hit today. One of the 5 Ball State has produced at the plate. Now it's John Baker, the heart of the order, 4, 5, and 6 against Bowling Green, and this is an important inning for John Baker.
Yeah, John Baker was very good in the last inning there, and he gets Ryder there to fly out early. That ball all the way to the warning track. An efficient out there for Baker. Nothing but a long out, I guess you would say in baseball terms.
A little bit scary though, wind blowing straight out, a chance for Ryder to maybe get that up and hit one out.
Yeah, a good swing there by Ryder. Was able to get the barrel to bat to it. Just got it under it a little bit too much, and the ball didn't have enough to get out of the ballpark.
Ever dangerous Greg Basilega now already a double today. Lifts one on the first pitch down right field. It's all the way in foul territory, runs back in, and Riedel makes the catch in fair territory. 2 quick outs for Baker.
Efficiency by Baker, as you just said. This inning would be huge for him in order to keep him rolling and keep him going late into this ball game. We've seen that from Ball State in the first 2 games, just how efficient their pitchers have been, and Baker has shown that in these last 1 2/3 innings that he's just as efficient as it gets as a pitcher.
Derek Dravis a walk and a run score back in the first. 4 runs by Bowling Green in that inning. Takes the ball inside. One of these situations, Quentin, where a coach wants a player to take a couple of pitches after 2 quick outs.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to go down in an inning with less than 5 pitches thrown by a pitcher, because like that just leads to more innings of him later in the game that you'll have to see him. And with as well as Baker has thrown, they want to get him out of here as soon as possible, so they're going to take as many pitches as they can.
Baker's a pitcher, co-Michigan Player of the Year last year in his senior season in high school, has brought so much to this pitching staff. 2-1 pitch by Baker to Dravis, laced into center field, and Eppers quick run on it, and each outfielder records an out in a quick 1-2-3 top of the third for John Baker. Ball State, Bowling Green tied up. Bottom of the third coming up from Muncie. Bottom half of the third inning from Muncie, Indiana. It's Easter weekend. Doubleheader baseball here on ESPN3. Ball State a 23-5 victory in the first game today. Knotted up after 2.5 with Bowling Green. Bowling Green's head coach, Danny Schmitz, has climbed his way up the ladder in the coaching tree inside the Mid-American Conference. 688 career wins overall. Just one shy of tying Joe Carbone of Ohio for second place all time inside the Mid-American Conference. Fred Decker has set the standard at the top with 791 career wins. But Danny Schmitz has done it all here at Bowling Green.
Yeah, and in our interviews with Schmitz, he's just been so in high praise for himself, and that's well deserved. He's a humble guy, but I mean, he knows that he's a good coach, and there's a reason that he's been here for that long, and there's a reason that he has that many wins. Just all props to him and his Bowling Green teams that have led him to those wins over his 27 seasons.
3-time Mid-American Conference Coach of the Year as Staten lifts one to deep left field. Scott is there, makes the catch on the warning track. In deep left field, Staten retired with Sean Kennedy coming to the plate. Kennedy started off the first inning with a single after a 5-for-5 performance earlier today, including 3 home runs, a triple, and a double.
Yeah, Sean Kennedy's swing cannot look any better at this moment. He's been seeing the ball very well and driving it to left field and left center with power. We've just seen him pad his RBIs and be a staple in the middle of the lineup at the 4 spot this series.
Takes a strike against Carey to begin the at-bat. Sean Kennedy was hitting good before this game and before this series. Started with a .308 average before today as he lines one to left center field. Scott on the run. The dive comes up empty off of his glove, and it drops down. Sean Kennedy, another extra base hit, 6th extra bases between the doubleheader. 2 for 2 in this game, 5 for 5 the first game, 7 for 7 in total. His batting average is now above the .340 mark after that last hit.
Yeah, I talk about him seeing the ball well, and I honestly, at this point, I don't think that words have anything to describe what he's doing for this Ball State team right now. Able to hit that low pitch and just get the barrel of the bat to it and drive it out into left center. I don't even know how you pull a pitch like that, let alone pull it with that much power and drive it for a double.
Well, he's making a case for Mid-American Conference Player of the Week, if anything else. 7 for 7 today alone.
Yeah, if he doesn't have that locked up right now, I'd be very surprised.
Seth Freed tries to follow up that Kennedy double, takes a pitch outside, 1 ball, no strikes. Freed is 0 for 1, a pop out to first base in foul territory. Count is even, the ball and a strike. Go-ahead run standing at second base for Ball State, Sean Kennedy, after a double with 1 down. Carey delivers, Freed drives it, just foul.
Sounded as if Freed got a little jammed on that play, unable to get the bat all the way to the, unable to get the barrel all the way to the baseball, but still got a good swing on it and was almost just shy of a double, an extra base hit there down the line.
Greatest hitless today in the combined doubleheader, 0 for 5. Can change that with 1 swing. Ball State 6 hits on the board already, not even through 3, as Freed lifts the 1-2 pitch out of play.
did a good job getting his barrel to that one, but just way ahead of it there on the off-speed pitch from Carey.
Carey entered today with a 3.28 ERA. 8 starts, has already tossed a complete game on the season. The Ball State's bats have started to find him early in this one.
It's just not the time that Carey wants to see this Ball State team and how well they're hitting. Carey's thrown well and thrown consistently all year, but right now this Ball State team and their offense is just something else.
It almost doesn't seem to matter who's on the mound for anybody at this point. Bowling Green, Western Michigan, Valparaiso, Ball State's offense is rolling right through.
Yeah, correct.
One ball, 2 strikes. Freed bounces it to short. Glansman can't come up cleanly with it. And Freed's on first on the E6, first of the game. First time Freed has reached base safely in the doubleheader.
A good job there by Freed, just getting the bat on the baseball, taking it the other way, and making Glansman make a play over there at short. A tough play for Glansman to make on that short hop. He was just unable to come up with it and unable to get the out at first base.
Trent Tyson, the DH at the plate, walked and scored a run in the second.
We mentioned how good of a job Sean Kennedy has done at the plate. A good job base running there on a ball hit in front of him, hit to the shortstop. A good job not trying to advance to third with no runner behind him at first, and just staying there at short, or staying there at second, and not making Glansman have the easy out at third.
One ball, no strikes to Tyson from Carey. A little bit of activity in the Bowling Green bullpen. Tyson rips it to right field. Kennedy held at second base on the line drive. Maloney waves him around third as Williams can't handle it cleanly in right field, and Ball State takes the lead. Trent Tyson comes through, Sean Kennedy in, Ball State by 1.
Ball State able to score a run there on R.J. Williams, bobbling that ball in right field. A good job there by Tyson, getting the barrel of the bat to the baseball and driving it to the right side. Either way, with that ball getting through, they were going to score a run either way, but R.J. Williams unable to come up with it in right field and unable to throw him out at home.
This is like the Ball State offense we saw last year with Call, Ryan Flesch, and everybody else that came together. They're starting to get through and hit the baseball well. And now it's Griffin Alecki with runners at second and third, a chance to give Ball State a bigger lead. Ball State a lead for the first time today. Comes in the bottom of the third. Alecki 1 for 1, single and a run scored.
Nice pitch there by Carey. You see here a great job by Tyson, able to get the head of the bat on the ball, drive it between first and second. And then R.J. Williams, the ball just jumped it up off the turf and hit him in the forearm, unable to come up with it in right field, leads to Ball State having runners on second and third with just 1 out.
Alecki falls behind 0-2.
Good change up there by Carey, working in the middle of the zone.
Carey sets for the 1-2 pitch. Alecki swings right center field. Williams back on the warning track. It bounces down over the fence. And a ground rule double for Griffin Alecki. The umpire signaling both runs get to score, and Halecki a 2-run double. Ball State extends its lead 7-4.
Yeah, Halecki is one that they wanted up in that situation, and just trying to get under the ball and drive it out to either center or right field to get a sac fly in. But in fact, he splits the outfielders on a good swing, and the ball's able to fall for a ground rule double, scoring 2 runs, and Ball State takes the lead 7-4.
Quentin, if I told you that Ball State would score a total of 32 runs in a matter of 12 innings, would that be a surprise to you?
With the way they're hitting the ball right now, honestly, I don't know if I would say I'm surprised by that. But obviously in baseball, you have to say that you're surprised when any team is putting up those kind of numbers. Even if it's T-ball, you don't see that.
Ball State did score 46 runs against Western Michigan in 3 games. Ball State scored 7 the first game yesterday. Couple that with the performance of today's 23 runs in the first game and 7 here. Not even through 3 innings, head coach Danny Schmitz walks slowly out to the mound for Bowling Green. Bowling Green's had a couple of pitchers warming up in the bullpen. But 9 hits already for Ball State and just 2 1/3 for Zach Carey.
We preached before the inning just the importance of having good fielding and good defenders behind you, and Bowling Green has failed to make all of their plays this inning and throughout this game, and that has led to Ball State being able to put up some big runs.
Out of the 7 runs scored, just 5 of those earned. For Carey, 2 unearned runs because of the Bowling Green act. Schmitz elects to keep Carey in the baseball game with Matt Eppers up. Already a double and a run batted in.
Matt Eppers, the native out of Bristol, Indiana. 6'4", right-hander.
All no strikes. Carey delivers. Eppers lines it left center field. Bounces down, a base knock. Extra bases for Eppers. Halecki rounding third. He's in to score. Back-to-back at bats with a double and an RBI for Matt Eppers. Ball State doubles up Bowling Green. 8-4 lead.
I love the little celebrations that they have out there on second base, riding the waves after they have extra base hits, and Matt Eppers has been able to do that a lot lately. You see here almost deja vu of his last at-bat, taking that outside pitch and driving it to left center field, able to get his barrel of the bat across the zone and split the center and left fielder. Good job there by Eppers.
That has forced head coach Danny Schmitz to motion the bullpen one more time to get Tony Landy loose. Landy, a senior, could be called upon soon with Carey and Bowling Green's defense allowing 4 runs here in the third. Here's Riedel, strike 1. This time Riedel pounds one to left field. Maloney sends in Eppers from second base. The throw is cut off and Eppers in on a slide. RBI single, Jeff Riedel.
A nice job hitting there by Riedel, able to get that ball out into left field, and I'm not sure why Cam Doherty cut that ball at third base, but just a good job there. Good job base running by Matt Eppers. Follow through with his coach's sign, and Cam Doherty cut it off on a throw that looked like it would have been close for a play at the plate.
Scott with a good throw from left, tumbled to the ground after he released it. Like you mentioned, Quentin, could have been a close play at home. But now after that error by Bowling Green's defense, Ball State pouring on the runs. Already 5 in this third inning. And what seemed to be a long time ago in the top of the first for Bowling Green, a 4-0 lead. Ball State 9 unanswered runs.
Similarly to last game, we saw them start out with a 1-0 lead for Bowling Green, and Ball State just took off after that. And today we've seen, or in game 2 today, we've seen the same exact thing. And here comes Bowling Green's coach back out to talk with Carey.
Second mound visit of the inning. That signals the end of the day for Zach Carey here today. And after his performance of 2 1/3, 11 hits on the scoreboard for Ball State, 1 error by Bowling Green, Carey's done 9 earned runs, allowed 1 walk, did not strike out a batter in 55 pitches. And now it's Tony Landy coming in from the bullpen for Bowling Green. First time this series we've seen Landy. He comes in from Geneva, Illinois.
Geneva, Illinois native there. That's about 20 minutes from my hometown. I never played against him in high school, but I heard a lot of things about him when I was back in high school. He seemed to be a good pitcher, really commanded his fastball, and was a big right arm there for Bowling Green.
For more on Landy, let's send it down to John Gordon.
Well, guys, I had a chance to talk to head coach Maloney for Ball State before this game started, and talking about relief pitching for Bowling Green, he said he wasn't really worried about most of the relief pitchers for Bowling Green. The one person, though, he was worried about and had concern for is Tony Landy. Now, Landy's ERA is above 7.0, but Maloney noted a few times about how Landy, the right-handed pitcher, could present multiple problems for Ball State.
John Landy definitely can. 6'4" frame. And last year, you mentioned it, he pitched 5 innings against Ball State. That was a season high. Didn't allow an earned run, so could come in today, have another strong performance against Ball State, lower that ERA, and try and find a groove finishing out his senior season.
Yeah, finishing out his senior season, he's looked good, and I expect him to use his curveball, which breaks hard across the zone, to keep him successful against Ball State. His ERA does not show how effective he's been in his games. There's a reason that he has as many appearances as he has, and he's a good veteran pitcher for this Bowling Green team, and I expect him to do well against this Ball State offense that has been so potent all day and all weekend.
Well, Landy mostly used as a closer throughout the course of his career. Last year in 2016, he tied Bowling Green's single-season record with 8 saves, and this year comes in with 3. So he has that save ability, but right now Bowling Green needs somebody like Landy to come in, stop the bleeding, and allow the offense to go back to work.
Yeah, they need him to do whatever he can to just keep this Ball State offense off the bases and hope for a ground ball here.
Baiso running start from the left-handed batter's box, a fake bunt.
Catcher Mott there did not know where the ball was, but Rito over at first base, unable to take the chance and risk going to second base and in hope that Mott would not find the ball. Eventually Mott got to it, so probably smart that Rito didn't advance on the play.
Landy delivers and Baiso fouls it off. The ball and a strike to the redshirt sophomore. Quentin, what's even more impressive, Staten lined out to start off this inning, but then 6 straight batters have reached base safely. And now Baiso pounds one into the ground. Glansman at short, to second, to first. Baiso breaks it up.
A good slide there by Rito, straight into second base, not breaking any rules, but able to break up the double play. Not that they had much of a chance with Baiso running to first base and how quick he is, but a good job there by Rito, good base running.
Definite advantage of sliding into the turf instead of the regular grass and the regular dirt, right?
Yeah, for sure, because with the turf, oftentimes you slide so far that you slide over the base, and it's able to take you into those into those fielders who are trying to turn double plays and just affect their throws more and more and more. That foul ball there nearly hit our camera girl, Brielle, over there.
Brielle staying agile over there down the third base line. Tough day for cameras. Center fielders almost get hit. Off to second as Baiso. Throw is late. And a stolen base for the speedy Baiso. He's now 7 of 11 on the season. Into scoring position for Alex Maloney, who's already driven in 1 on a sacrifice fly in the first. That got Ball State's offense rolling.
A good job there by Coach Maloney, sending Biasa over to try to get him into scoring position with a good hitter in Maloney at the dish. With 2 strikes now, just look for him to put the ball in play and hope for the best.
Landy checks the 1-2 delivery. Maloney knocks it foul.
Nice job there fouling away that inside pitch by Alex Maloney. Does such a good job getting his hands out in front of the baseball and driving it to the left side with power. One of the best guys I've seen on this Ball State roster. We see him stand right on the plate, but he's still able to get his super fast hands around on the baseball and just take it into left.
Maloney nearly has his back foot on the line too as he rips the 1-2 pitch deep to left field. He knew it, a bat flip and a 2-run shot for Alex Maloney. Ball State's strong third inning continues. 7 runs on the board courtesy of an Alex Maloney 2-run shot.
Alex Maloney here, staying back on that curveball and getting the barrel of the bat to it. No doubt home run over, almost onto the road over there. The bat flip, as you said, Nick, kind of an understatement as he held onto the bat with it halfway down the first baseline before he threw it.
And now it's back to Caleb Staten, who started this inning with a flyout.
And he has all of the outfielders out there back on the warning track, so that shows you his power.
Back to left field again, and this time it drops down and nearly over the head of Scott. And a single with 2 outs for Caleb Staten. The offense continues. 14 hits. Quentin, we're not through the third.
Yeah, this offense has just been incredible today. Both games that we've seen, Caleb Staten there, able to drive the ball into left, and I just can't put words to this offense.
Well, if you can't, Sean Kennedy might here today. He's already 2 for 2 in this second game, finished up 5 for 5 in the first game, 3 home runs. This one he's got a single and a double. First game he was a single shy of the cycle, so let's see what's in store from Sean Kennedy here.
And we talk so much about the alignment of the outfielders of Bowling Green having to play back in the warning check because Ball State has hit the ball out there 20 times today, and now Staten drives the ball to left and is able to drop it in on a ball that would normally be caught by a left fielder.
Landy falls behind Kennedy, 2 balls, no strikes. And Kennedy has raised his average from 308 to now 343, but he's not the only one that's raised it at least 10%. Eppers, Halecki, and Staten have all reached at least a 10% increase in their batting average by today's games alone. An incredible statistic. And these batters finding a hot streak, a chance to go 6-6 inside the MAC, win 7 straight. That's all on the line today, and so far so good, especially in this third inning.
If I were Landy here, I may just want to put him on base with how successful he's been. Kennedy there, a late swing, just got on top of that baseball and was unable to get his bat under it.
Staten can take off at first with 2 down. He does. Kennedy swings through it. First time he's been retired in the doubleheader today. And Tony Landy gets out of the inning, but an Alex Maloney 2-run home run, a little bit of a bat flip too, to cap off this third inning, which saw 7 runs. Ball State up by 7 in Muncie. John Baker takes to the hill for Ball State, his third inning of relief after a 4-run first for Bowling Green. 11 unanswered for Ball State, including 7 in that bottom of the third. It's a scorching day here for Muncie. Record highs around this time of year. 80 degrees, Wind blowing to straightaway center field, 20 miles an hour has been recorded the fastest speed. Mott steps in against Baker, who's come in, pitched well, hasn't allowed a hit since he's been in.
Yeah, he's pitched very well, and I mean, maybe part of that has to do with his mustache, just intimidating these hitters.
It's an incredible mustache. I know I can't grow anything like that. Quentin, how about you?
Yeah, well, I mean, mine comes in a little bit blonder, having blonde hair, and I just don't think it's a good look for me.
I feel your pain there. Baker falls behind Mott, 2 balls and a strike. Never been one to try and grow facial hair too much.
Yeah, me neither.
I know our producer, JC Obringer's got a nice goatee going right now.
He looks like he's about 40 years old.
Wouldn't tell him that too often. Baker falls behind 3-1. Fouled off down the first base side. Count pulls full. Mott walked in the first. That was the best inning Bowling Green has had throughout the course of today's doubleheader. But Quentin, we talked about it, and Coach Schmitz of Bowling Green talked about it too. Whenever Bowling Green had a little bit of momentum and scoring a run or 2 multiple runs, Ball State does something to grab the momentum and run away.
Yeah, Ball State has just taken the momentum that they've been able to put up after as Mott drives the ball into right center field. A good piece of hitting there by him.
And Mott around second nearly trips, freed the throw into Maloney, the tag just late.
A nice play there by Maloney at third, able to scoop and get the tag on him just late. Good piece of hitting here, taking that outside pitch and throwing his back hip into it to put it out between right and center. You saw the Ball State outfielders playing pretty far in on that play, and that's because that's only Mott's second extra base hit of the year. Although he's been hitting the ball well for this Bowling Green team, he only has 2 extra base hits on the year, 1 double and 1 triple.
Close play at third. Didn't look as close in real time, but on the replay, a little bit closer as Scott rips one foul. 1 for 1, a single back in the second. And Baker pelts Scott on the upper body. No way to get out of that one. Back-to-back base runners now for Bowling Green after Baker worked 2 scoreless.
Number 27, Nick Glansman.
A tough job there to get out of the way of that pitch. There's not really anything you can do as a hitter for Scott there.
Nothing but protect your face. Scott did that, hit his shoulder near that shoulder blade.
Something that we've seen a lot of the MLB guys go to is the extra mouthpiece to protect their chin from getting hit on pitches like that or foul balls possibly. Haven't seen it introduced as much in the college game because they wear their helmets that cover both of their ears, unlike the MLB in which they only cover one ear. So the guys haven't gone to it as much in the college game, but expect to see that implemented more and more as the next few years go on.
Is that something that the college game may grow accustomed to? Stick with the 2 flaps, but go maybe to that guard to protect the cheek?
Yeah, I could see that definitely being implemented in the NCAA game because the NCAA does so much to protect their athletes, and you see with football, they're trying everything they can to prevent concussions, and so they want to prevent those in baseball too, and just by adding that extra piece to their helmet, that would help prevent the amount of concussions and the amount of bad things that happen on a ball that would hit you in the face.
No balls and 2 strikes to Glansman. 0 for 1. Just misses outside. With all of the safety advancements that the NCAA is trying to make, especially in football, like you mentioned, baseball has gotten that attention to try and make the game safer. We've seen it in Major League Baseball, the slide into home rule, how the catcher can't hug the plate unless he actually has the baseball. Stuff like that, we could see something like the face mask come into play.
For sure, and another thing, as Ball State tries to turn 2 on a tough play there, a little spinner by Glansman hit out to the second baseman, Kennedy. scores Mott on the play. But Coach Schmitz is going out to talk to the umpire at second base currently. Don't know what that's about.
Fielder's choice marked to Glanzman, an RBI from the 9th spot. But the run does count for Bowling Green. Now an 11-5 game. Coach Schmitz not liking the explanation he's getting from the first base umpire, Tim Farwig.
Coach Schmitz, a well-respected coach, and you see here on the little flare towards second base. I wonder if Schmitz is arguing whether or not he had his foot on the base. But clearly it looked to me as if his foot was on the back of the base there at second. So a nice play by Kennedy, able to get the out for Ball State.
Run scores, fielder choice marked. Wilson pounds one to shortstop. Freed back, quick throw to second, and it rolls into right field. Glanzman gets up, runs to third, and Wilson into second. Little change of momentum. Started off with the leadoff triple by Mott. Scott was hit by a pitch, Glanzman's fielder choice. And now a throwing error by Freed at shortstop, and head coach Maloney slowly walks out to the pitcher's mound.
I think this is just to calm his team down rather than let it get out of hand before these 2 runs possibly come in off the bat of R.J. Williams. I just expect him to go out there and calm him down and try to talk to his team. You see here, Freed throws that ball sidearm, doesn't get his momentum into it, which is something that a lot of coaches preach, is getting your momentum going towards second base rather than falling back and throwing that arm from your hip or throwing that ball from your hip. Freed was unable to do so, and that embarked a hard task for Kennedy to catch that ball at second base, and he was unable to.
Right fielder number 1, R.J. Williams.
Well, the game at first seemed climbing out of reach for Ball State when Bowling Green had a 4-0 lead. Ball State had an 11-4 run lead before this inning, but now Bowling Green reining things in against John Baker.
A base hit here by R.J. Williams could really make this game interesting. That would possibly put it at 11-7, and with the wind blowing out like this, a team is never really out of the game, and this is a great fight by the Bowling Green hitters.
And Quentin, only 4 hits on the board for Bowling Green. It's been the walks, the hit by pitches, and the errors by Ball State's defense that's allowed Bowling Green to really stay in this game.
Yeah, and we've seen Ball State be aided by some errors too, and we preach so much about how you need to be consistent in the field and prevent those errors, and neither team has been able to do so, and that's why there's 16 runs already through 3.5 innings.
Williams squares pulled back, but a strike called by the home plate umpire, John Sapphire. Wayne Krautz at third base, Tim Farwig, the first base umpire today. Baker, the 0-2 pitch.
That ball nearly down the line, down the third base line. A good job getting his hands extended there by R.J. Williams and trying to get that ball down the left field line for extra bases.
Williams is 0 for 2, a flyout and a strikeout. Down swinging, tag from Halecki. Second strikeout by Williams today.
That's a big out by Baker there because he keeps R.J. Williams from getting a run in. R.J. Williams, all he needed to do was hit the ball, but he was all he needed to do was put the ball in play to either first or up the middle, and he was unable to do so.
But now it's Doherty who has a 2-run home run. That came in the first inning. Bowling Green's offense rolling. Strikeout of the second. More Falcons on the bases for Doherty as he lifts one down the first base side. Out of play.
I was expecting Baker to be patient here, but instead of going right at him and with the runners on second and third and first base open, I was expecting him to be patient, but instead he goes right at Doherty and hopes to get out of this inning. pitch hasn't been there all day from this umpire. Good job by pitchers from Bowling Green and Ball State hitting their spots and hitting their corners, but the pitch has just not been called all day. Great consistency from the umpire. With Doherty way out ahead of that last pitch, I would expect Baker to go back to an off-speed pitch here and hope for a strikeout.
One ball, 2 strikes. Baker deals, Doherty lays off 2-2. Wooster, Ohio, 6'6". It's a tall baseball player, Quentin.
Yeah, it is, and that showed in his first at bat. He was able to get all that height and all of his body into his swing and drive the ball out of the ballpark.
Not every day you see a 6'6" baseball player, tight ends, wide receivers in the NFL, college football, basketball, but baseball, not too often you see somebody that tall.
Yeah, especially somebody that tall that's not a pitcher. You see sometimes in the MLB they have pitchers upwards of 6'6", 6'7". Even Randy Johnson, for example, was a big pitcher, but not many times you see 6'6" players in the field.
And the 6'6" Doherty down on the outside corner. Baker works around it. Just 1 run comes in to score. 2 left on. But it was a triple by Mott to get things started to allow Bowling Green to get on the board.
Back here in the bottom of the 5th inning, Ball State an 11-5 over Bowling Green. Well, a lot of superstition that we've been talking about for Ball State, but there's a dance move that has eyes looking at second. State gets an extra hit. As you can see here, there are players who they dance on. Actually do is they actually have a dance and then the players in the dugout wave. It's a lot of superstition here for Ball State.
Riding the wave. Matt Eppers seemed to have almost started that a couple games ago, and with this winning streak, they might as well try and keep riding that wave. They started against Western Michigan. It seems like Chuck, the Cardinal, the wave all came at once, and it's pouring onto the field.
Yeah, there's been a wave of runs coming out of their bats, and they've just done a great job throughout these past 6 games of hitting the ball well and having some fun in the dugout and on the field. That's what you like to see coming out of a baseball team, is just them having fun. That's such a big part of the game and such a big part that plays into those superstitions.
Freed at the plate, 0 for 2, did reach on an error and came around to score in the 3rd. That produced 7 runs by Ball State, which is the biggest inning that they've had in the combined doubleheader today for the series at all, considering they did score 23 runs in the first game. Runs continue. One-two pitch swung on by Freed. Glansman up the middle. Nice play to his left.
Glansman with a nice play up the middle there. Similar ball to Freed that he hit last time, but this time Freed and Glansman were able to come up with it and get Freed at first base. Good job there by Glansman. Looked as if Freed got that off the end of the bat and was unable to drive it up the middle. Good hustle down the line from Freed, but unable to beat it out.
Tyson puts the first pitch foul down the left field line. Tyson today is 1 for 1 in 2 plate appearances. Had a walk, single, has scored twice, brought in 2 runs.
it seems to me Landy looks a lot more comfortable coming out of the windup rather than the stretch that he came in and had to be out of in last inning. He looks a lot more comfortable coming out of the windup and against these Ball State hitters this inning.
Chopper to second. Dravis there, throw to first. Tyson out by a step.
The Ball State fans are yelling here, but I think that was a good call over there by the first base umpire on a short chopper to second base.
Catcher number 13, Griffin Halecki.
You see here once again a chopper forced by Landy, and quick hands there by the second baseman was able to get it over to first base. And like I said, I think that the umpire got the call right over there. Big swing on that last pitch by Halecki. Unable to get the barrel of the bat to the ball because he was so far ahead of it trying to jump on that fastball.
Strong day for Halecki, 2 for 2. Single, double, 2 runs scored, 2 RBIs.
The thing I like about Landy is how fast he works on the mound. As soon as he gets that ball back, he's ready and he's set, ready to come back at Halecki.
Landy trying to go for the first 1-2-3 inning for the Bowling Green pitching staff today in the bottom of the 4th, trailing by 6 runs. Halecki swings through it, and Landy does it. 1-2-3, bottom of the 4th. And after 4 innings, Ball State 11, Bowling Green 5. It's Easter weekend, second game of a doubleheader here in Muncie.
The Cardinals on social media.
Strong offensive day for Ball State, 11 runs on the board, but it's also been the impact of a freshman today, John Baker, who entered the game after just 2 third innings pitched by Evan Marquardt. Baker, a freshman, came into today with the second best ERA on the team, just under 3. 3-1 record, has blossomed in his freshman season at Ball State. Co-Michigan Player of the Year last year as a senior. Now has 36 strikeouts, 3 1/3 innings pitched, thrown 52 pitches, but Quinton's been effective. That last inning allowed an earned run.
Yeah, he's only allowed 1 earned run through the innings that he's been in here for Ball State, and he's just done a great job commanding his pitches. Last inning we saw one get away from him with the hit by pitch, but besides the one big hit by Mott, he's done a great job on the mound for Ball State. He'll have a tough task here this inning with the middle of the lineup coming in for Bowling Green, starting out with Ryder.
He gets Ryder, Basilega, and Dravis. He got Ryder to pop out to left field in his first at-bat, though, in the 3rd.
Nice pitch there, just missed on a little bit up.
Good bite to the curveball by Baker. Ryder to right field, drops down, and Riedel nearly overplays it. And makes the play on the 1-hop to hold Ryder to a single to lead off the 5th.
A good swing there, able to flick that ball into right field, and a nice play by Riedel to keep that ball in front of him, prevent Ryder from getting an extra base hit there.
Basilega 1 for 2, a double, a run scored in the 1st inning, and a fly out in the 3rd. That hit in the 1st was his first hit of the series.
One of our impact players was Basilega, and he just hasn't produced as consistently as he was before this series for Bowling Green. Hoping to get back on track in this at-bat.
The threat at any time, and Ryder's already on. His combination's lethal when they're both going. Goes around, a ball and a strike.
Those high pitches there for power hitters are so tough to lay off of. You just want to get that pitch at your numbers that you can easily get your hands down to and just extend for a big hit. But when you get one that comes inside like that, there's not much you can do with it.
Baker pitches. Basilega swings and loses the bat down the third base side. Luckily, it stayed in play.
Yeah, Basilega looks to be wincing in pain. Not sure what he did, or if he may have created a blister or something when he threw that bat.
No batting gloves for Basilega. But that was a swing. Basilega let go of the bat. We've seen that a couple of times in Major League Baseball throughout the course of the season, but luckily it stayed in the field of play.
It's interesting to see him not use batting gloves. That's become such an essential part in baseball today, as so many players use batting gloves, and not many players in the college level use as much pine tar as you see in the major leagues, because they use metal bats obviously instead of wood bats, so they have the grip on them rather than having to use the pine tar in order to get grip.
But Basilega wanted the pine tar, grabbed some extra to get some grip on that bat. Basilega down in the count, ball and 2 strikes. Baker deals, Basilega fouls him.
Good battle here from Basilega. They keep attacking him with fastballs and he keeps fouling them off. Would be surprised if they throw him another fastball, because he seems to be right on it with his timing.
Pine tar batting gloves for you, Quentin.
Batting gloves 10 times out of 10. Never a guy who used pine tar. Even when I use wood bats, I would tape them up, not use pine tar. I just didn't like the feel of pine tar on my hands. How about you?
Pine tar was always interesting to me, but batting gloves were almost a necessity. I always felt like my hands would just feel weird without batting gloves.
Yeah, I agree.
Jorge Posada, one of the most famous names in Major League Baseball. Pine tar, catcher for the Yankees, no batting gloves. You don't see that too often anymore.
Right.
Basilega long at bat.
Good job by Baker, just keeping going at him here instead of wasting pitches and trying to get around him. Just a good job going at him with his fastball and keeping Basilega on his toes. Not much of a better pitch you can make there, 2-2. As we preached before, he hasn't given that call all game, but just they continue to hit that spot, and Basilega does a good job taking that pitch right there.
Full count pitch, bouncer to short, freed across his body. Beautiful toss to second for the fielder's choice. Basilega had a long at bat, reaches base safely, but Ryder cut down at second.
On a 3-2 pitch like that, you don't want to send Ryder because he's a slow runner. So although that could have prevented them from getting the first out at second base, they don't want to risk that and risk having Ryder take that base. A good job by Fried there. Different from the first time he was put in that situation. That time he got the ball up towards his head instead of throwing the ball from his waist, and was able to make an accurate throw over to Sean Kennedy at second base.
We've seen Seth Fried make a couple of great plays from deep in that shortstop position, either over to first or to second base. Just another example of a highlight reel tape that Fried's put on this year.
Yeah, Fried has done a great job all year in all these situations.
Travis pulls ahead, 2 balls, no strikes. Top half of the 5th inning, Ball State by 6 runs. Haven't seen a Ball State run since the bottom half of the 3rd. Ball State scored 7 that inning. They had 11 unanswered runs before Bowling Green put one on in the top of the fourth. One win away from a 7-game winning streak for Ball State. Chance to extend the current longest winning streak in the MAC. Baker the 2-1 pitch, slow roller to first, and Staten holds on to it, tags Dravis himself. Over to second goes Basilega.
Good job there by Baker, utilizing his changeup that that has worked so well for him throughout this season, and he came back on a 2-0 count and was able to throw it for a strike. And then you see him there getting Dravis to bounce out to Staten at first.
Pitcher number 7, Justin Mott.
Justin Mott at the plate, he's 1 for 1. Walk in the first, a triple and a run scored to start off the fourth inning. Quentin Mott, a player that you like a lot of power packed into a 5'9" frame.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of good things from him this series. I was surprised not to see him in the starting lineup in Game 1 in this doubleheader. He hit the ball hard in this earlier in the game, tripling, and I was surprised, like I said, to not see him in the last game, but he's hit the ball well to all parts of the ballpark and is one of their leaders in batting average this season.
Another guy with no batting gloves on this Bowling Green roster. Might have to keep a tally of how many have batting gloves, how many don't have batting gloves. 1-0's down, and Baker falls behind. 2 balls, no strikes.
I wonder how many blisters you have to go through in order to prevent yourself from using batting gloves.
He does go with the thumb guard, though, the Bryce Harper thumb guard type deal.
I see that, yeah.
Baker the 2-0 to Mott, upstairs.
That thumb guard is something we see a lot of catchers use nowadays in order to prevent their thumb from bending back in their mitt. When you get these guys throwing 95 miles an hour, that ball continues to bend back their thumb and potentially could break their thumb. But now with that thumb guard, we see more and more guys using it to prevent injuries.
Thumb guard's something that more and more players are starting to use. Baker the 3-1. Mott pops it up, shallow right. Riedel comes on, fights the sun, makes the grab, and puts away Mott for the first time today. Bowling Green leaves a runner on base. 6-run lead, Ball State coming back to bat. Bottom of the 5th upcoming. 7 runs in the 3rd inning for Ball State, have them on top 11-5 through 4.5 innings here in Muncie. 80-degree day, doubleheader here before the bad weather. Supposed to roll in, sadly, on Easter tomorrow. But it's been an up and down roller coaster season for Ball State. They've seen the highest of highs and the lowest of lows up to this point in the year, and included a 9-game losing streak before. Now they've rallied off 6 straight victories, but it all began on the road in non-conference play. An 8-3 victory against number 22 Maryland, 6 straight losses to start the Mid-American Conference. But then it was that 3-game set against Western Michigan, jump-started them 6 in a row now.
Yeah, they've seen a lot of production over the last 3 games against Western Michigan, and then bridging them in between their series between MAC opponents was Valparaiso, where they also scored 11 runs, and that's definitely climbing up the roller coaster right now in hopes of a big climb for the end of the season.
A very uncharacteristic 9-game losing streak for Ball State, but Quentin, you hit it. They're starting to hit the top of the roller coaster right now. They want to keep going up that, and as Matt Eppers would say as he digs into the batter's box, ride the wave, keep the momentum going against Tony Landy here in the bottom of the 5th. Eppers a pair of doubles and a couple of RBIs. Pounds that one to third base. Doherty over to first to retire Eppers.
The right fielder,
Brings up Jeff Riedel. He's had a good day today, 1 for 1. Single in the third. That's when he had an RBI, sacrifice bunt in the second. First pitch swinging, 2-hopper to the shortstop. Glanzman puts away Riedel. Fast start so far for Landy. He's now set down the last 6 batters he's faced.
As I mentioned last inning, Landy has been very effective out of the windup. Ball State just unable to produce in these last 2 innings, and expect Roman Baisa here to take a pitch, as the first 2 hitters of this inning have gone down without seeing many pitches. So I expect Roman Baisa to have a long at bat and take a few pitches here. Whether they're strikes or balls, you just want to take pitches and give your pitcher a little break to give him some rest.
Well, he did take his time getting to the batter's box. Grabbed the different bat. And now Baisa takes the ball, just like you mentioned, Quentin, watching that one outside.
One person who doesn't like to take breaks is Tony Landy. He's just flying out there. Reminds me of Mark Burley.
Mark Burley work quick, get on the mound, throw it, get the ball and do it again. Ball State does have an arm warming up in the bullpen down the left field line. It's Nick Floyd as Baisa fouls one off his foot. Floyd has warmed up in all 3 games in the series, but is yet to enter here so far against Bowling Green. Floyd's had a strong campaign, has the lowest ERA on the team. Could see him at some point here today as we stand in the bottom of the 5th.
Yeah, I expect Floyd to come in here. As you mentioned, he's been in the bullpen all 3 games, so obviously Coach Maloney is looking to use him at some point. So we'll see him soon here, I'm sure.
Baisa with the 1-2 swing, 2-hopper. Drave is there and a 4-3 putout. Tony Landy has retired 7 straight for Bowling Green. And after 5 innings here today, Ball State's offense came to play. 11-5 lead here in Muncie, Easter weekend. Five innings complete in Muncie here on Easter weekend. Everybody enjoying some baseball and a doubleheader. Ball State fans happy with this one, a 6-run lead against Bowling Green. Here today we have John Gordon join us from down near the dugouts, patrolling, staying as cool as possible, trying to avoid a windburn perhaps, John?
Yeah, you could say that, a sunburn, anything to get out of the sun for a little bit and spend some time with you guys is good for me.
Nick Floyd is in to pitch for Ball State, 2.53 ERA, which is tops on the Ball State roster.
I was telling you guys last time I was up here, Nick Floyd is a guy who has matured so much with his time here at Ball State, had a situation, and when he was playing against Oregon State, who is now one of the best teams in the country, and all he had to do and come into that situation was just throw 1 strike with the bases loaded. Now that's a tough task to ask, but he was able to do it, and he's coming in some tough spots, and for this time a 6-run lead shouldn't be too much of a high-pressure situation.
Yeah, Nick Floyd has looked great, as you just mentioned, especially with runners in scoring position. The batting average against him with runners in scoring position just at .214, so you can see he's getting the job done on the mound, especially when he's coming in those tough situations.
Faces Scott, Glanzman, and Wilson, the first 3 in the Bowling Green order.
You like your pitcher to start off like that, coming right out of the bullpen, first pitch strike.
Floyd has been very successful this year against righties.
He's going to get a pair of them too, with this batter and on deck.
Scott the pop-up. Kennedy fights the wind and sun. Makes the grab in shallow right.
You got to love that he's got the sunglasses. He might not. It looks like he has the sunglasses on his head from here. Could be wrong, yep. But doesn't have them on, and he gets a ball right in the sun. Never understand those.
It's a fashion statement nowadays. Players just love to look cool.
Hey, he can do whatever he wants. 3 home runs last game, single away from the cycle.
Don't question Kennedy.
Yeah.
Shortstop Glanzman is 0 for 2.
Nice pitch. That looked like a slider that broke a little bit for Floyd, but unable to get that strike call from the umpire.
talking to head coach Danny Schmitz for Bowling Green, he said last game the only thing that made him happy was the first inning, because that was the first run of the game for Bowling Green, and you could say the same about this game. It had a great start for them, 4 runs in the first inning. Really haven't seen anything since. That 1 run in the 4th inning doesn't mean much.
That 1 run did snap at 11 unanswered runs scored by Ball State. Bowling Green finally broke that streak, but like you mentioned, it's now a 6-run deficit for Bowling Green.
Right, if you remember last game, in one of those innings, Bowling Green put up 4 runs, but I asked him, did that not mean anything to you? And he said, oh, absolutely not. We were already out of that game. How about that flow there for Nick Floyd also?
Gotta see you grow something like that, John.
Not anytime soon.
We talk about Baker's mustache and now Floyd's flow. All these players on Ball State making fashion statements, and
It's all the pitchers. How about Marquardt? That's a name who needs to be brought
Marquardt
up
too,
for
yeah,
some
he's
flow.
got some flow.
The Ball State pitchers who have come on the mound today, I don't know what it is, but
Eppers has a mustache too sometimes, back and forth.
Evers is a goof.
it's definitely one of the funniest guys on this team, and a player that I believe one of you were asking in one of those Bring It Home segments, who's the funniest player to make. That was you with Griffin Alecki, and the answer was Matt Eppers, no question.
One of many players on this Ball State team that's having a lot of fun right now.
Well, that's the best thing about baseball too, is you have this fun, and if you ride a streak like Ball State's on right now, it's all more better.
Klansman to Freed, over to State, and a nice tag off the back.
A veteran move there by State, knowing exactly what to do. It's okay to come off first base if it's an inside throw, if you have plenty of time to tag him. And when he was out for injury earlier in this season, Ball State, they had a hole in their infield, but able to adjust. Beautiful swipe.
Nimble feet for Caleb Staten brings up Jake Wilson. Wilson has a walk, reached on an error.
I absolutely commend the SportsLink crew that's putting on this broadcast right now, because you talk about the first game. I mean, it was the 6th inning, and it had already gone 2.5 hours, and you turn around and you produce another game like this at first inning, 4 runs for Bowling Green, 1 run for Ball State. Long day for all those cameramen and camerawomen out there, but they're doing a great job.
Special thanks to our producer, J.C. Obringer, too, keeping everybody in line, especially us up here. Brielle giving the wave on the camera down the third base line.
See, somehow we luck out and we end up getting the air-conditioned booth. Everybody else is sitting outside in the heat. Absolutely commend those guys.
Don't want to tell them our secrets here now, John. Floyd gets Wilson striking out on an inside corner, crosses him up, finishes up the top of the 6th inning. 1-2-3 inning for Nick Floyd. Here on the mound for Ball State. 6 runs separate these two teams in Muncie. 2, 3, and 4 due up for Ball State in the bottom of the 6th. That brings up the senior sluggers who have provided the offense here today. It's Alex Maloney, Caleb Staten, and Sean Kennedy, the first 3 to bat. And they go to work against Tony Landy, who has set down the last 7 batters he's faced, settled into a groove after entering in the game in the 3rd inning. But taking a look at these seniors this year, it's been impressive with Staten, Maloney, Kennedy. They've been the talk of the season for the most part for this Ball State team, but once again doing it here today, Kennedy, Staten, and Maloney. And also Eppers providing some offense.
There's so many seniors on this team, and you look at what Ball State lost last year, Mick. Let's talk about what they're going to lose after this season. I think that's going to be a very big concern, but you have them right now, and that's what Ball State loves about it. And you have a chance to extend your winning streak to 7 games, and it's because these guys in the front part of the order, they're doing a great job, though, of spreading the love around, though. Every batter on this Ball State team has a hit so far.
And it's not just the hitters that are getting the job done for Ball State. We saw senior B.J. Butler throw eight innings yesterday, allowing just 3 earned. The seniors have been getting the job done on all aspects that they field for Ball State.
So if you look at this lineup with Maloney, State, and Kennedy, and Eppers, plus B.J. Butler, Kevin Marnin, as Maloney rips it, foul down the left field line. Already a home run today, gave that one a charge. But those 6 seniors and what they mean to this Ball State team, they lost 3 last year with Plesac, Call, and Rindfleisch. It took them a while to get their feet under them offensively now, but now they're in the heart of this Mid-American Conference season, rolling on all cylinders, just like they were last year with those 3 in.
Well, the great thing about this senior class also is not only their performance on the field, but there really is no separation that you hear a lot from seniors and the rest of the class. So many people look up to the senior class for Ball State, and they don't really treat freshmen any differently, as they shouldn't. And a lot of the freshmen, to look up to this senior class, it's something that they're going to remember their entire 4 years here. A guy like Joe Gunn looking up to Alex Maloney and wanting to be like Matt Eppers out in the outfield. For him to see this his freshman year, it gives him an ability to set the bar up high for his next 3 years.
Yeah, and you bring up a good person there in Joe Gunn. We've seen his work ethic displayed. When we were at practice this week, he was out taking extra fly balls for about an hour and extra cuts after practice. So you see the work ethic of the seniors just paying off for Joe Gunn and for the rest of these young freshmen here for Ball State, as a wild pitch there advances Maloney into second.
Staten today 1 for 3, a single, ground out, and a flyout. One hopper right into the sun. Ryder loses it, and Staten's on base.
A lot of blunders by the fielders for Bowling Green so far today. It's been a little bit of the wind, it's been a little bit of the sun. Not often you see a ground ball get lost in the sun, guys, but at the same time, there are a lot of plays need to be made by these Bowling Green fielders, and when you give this senior class opportunities like that, like right now, nobody out, first and third for Sean Kennedy coming up, but a great job of just getting it in play, and that's such a high ground ball.
Right off the turf, off the wrist of Ryder.
We talked last inning about Sean Kennedy for Ball State wearing his sunglasses on his head, and you look over there at first base, and Ryder, he doesn't have any on his cap or on his face, so that obviously played a big factor in that ground ball that he was unable to come up with at first.
I know you guys were talking earlier. I was down by the Ball State bullpen, but you were talking about batting gloves and not everybody wearing batting gloves, but at the same time, not everybody buys into the sunglasses. They don't want any of their view distorted or anything like that. You know, it brings a little bit of a shade to it. So I can understand that a little bit, but yeah, at the same time, when you're making errors in the field because of it,
what about the eye black though?
That's true. I was never an eye black guy. I think growing up, it just kind of looks like a little bit of an overstatement.
Kennedy to short, Glansman boots it into left.
Not sure whether or not they'll rule that as a hit or an error there by Glansman, but I'm assuming it's a hit. A ball hit deep in the shortstop pocket there by Glansman. I think that they'll rule that a hit on a tough play on a short hop.
They do rule it a hit for Kennedy. That's his first RBI in this game after having 9 in the first game earlier today. So 10 total runs batted in.
Another great job there of just putting the ball in play. And when you're playing a Bowling Green team who's making a lot of mistakes in the field, that's all you have to do sometimes.
Tough play for Glansman, moving to his right in the hole as Freed bounces one off his foot.
I want to hurt that foot. The footwork for Freed has been tremendous this weekend. He has made a ton of web gems. He had one earlier where he backhanded a ground ball, and it was such a smart decision going to second base. You see a lot of people making that long throw to first base because they think the play is going to be over at second.
Freed lays down a bunt. Landy picks it. No move except for first. Freed's out. Sacrifice moves the runners up 90 feet.
A good job there by Landy, just taking the out at first and moving on to the next hitter for him. He's thrown well this inning, but has not had help from his fielders who have made an error. Expect him to come right at Tyson here and make some good pitches.
Tyson today 1 for 2, single, walk and a ground out. Also with the run batted in, has scored 2 runs, but he's going to see an intentional walk, the first of the weekend. First of the weekend issued by either team. That'll load things up for Griffin Halecki, who's already had himself quite the day. Can continue that here.
Surprised here to see the college game hasn't switched over like the MLB to the just say you want to put a guy on first base instead of throwing these 4 pitches and adding to the pitch count of Landy here. But anyone in this situation, I'm just surprised that the college game hasn't gone to that.
When do you guys think that'll happen in the college game, if ever?
Well, I think you look at the MLB just recently made that change, so you could see it here within the next few years. Again, Quentin, I would be shocked if you didn't, because I think the MLB putting it in just kind of shows that, you know, you're right. It is a pointless thing to throw 4 pitches, and it's something that slows down the game. And look at today, how long these 2 games have lasted, and it just slows it down a bit.
Infield playing in with the bases loaded, especially at first and third. Now it's Halecki with the bases loaded, 2 runs batted in, has a single and a double. Can bring in more, a slap to shortstop. Glansman comes up with it, and a throw to third, a fielder's choice, an RBI for Halecki, but Glansman showing the leather.
And that was some quick reaction there as well. He bobbled it a little bit, but just it was hit so hard to him that he had plenty of time to throw it to third base.
That just shows the baseball IQ of Glansman there, able to come up with that play and go straight to third with it. That just shows how smart of a player he is and how well he can flash the leather out there at shortstop.
Brings up Matt Eppers, who's had 2 doubles, 2 runs batted in. Has also scored once. Big day for Eppers, a couple of line drives into the left center field gap.
And I really do like the spot he is in the lineup right now, because he's batting 8th, and what that does is it allows Ball State to flip the order. You notice recently now Ball State's been able to put up so many runs. It's because they have innings like this 3rd inning. They put up 7.
Eppers to Glansman, over to second. That's a quick fielder's choice and puts away Eppers for the final out. Ball State gets 2 runs. Special thanks to John joining us up here in the booth. Coming out from the dugouts. 13-5, Ball State after 6. "20-mile-an-hour winds in Muncie, 80 degrees, breaking some records here in the Midwest. Partly cloudy throughout the course of today, but it's been a beautiful day, doubleheader. This the second game. Ball State has put up an offensive outburst. It was 25 runs in the first game today, already 13 here in the second. Just through 6 innings, Nick Floyd back in for a second inning on the mound.
There's a reason that these fans are still here at Ball State. Between the beautiful weather out here and the great Ball State baseball that they've been playing lately and all day today, there's a reason that this place is almost still packed.
Ball State 3 innings away on the mound from earning its 7th straight victory and also pulling even at 500 in MAC play as Williams bounces the first pitch foul. Would also put them at 18-18 on the season, back to 500 overall.
Yeah, and I expect him to just keep going, keep climbing that roller coaster as we talked about earlier. They've played nothing but great lately, and I expect them to keep getting to 500 and get over the hump that is 500.
Williams a healthy cut, misses. He's already struck out twice, and a fly out up to this point of the game. Floyd, the 3rd Ball State pitcher today. It was Evan Marquardt that pitched 2/3. And then John Baker came in, pitched 4 innings, and now it's Nick Floyd.
John Baker threw really well and really efficiently for this Ball State team. Did not stay in as long as he had probably hoped, but he's been replaced by great Nick Floyd in the past 2 innings.
Williams pulls the count even, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Top of the 7th, a 13-5 Ball State lead. Over half those runs came in the 3rd inning. That was the biggest inning for Ball State on the day. Featured a couple of extra base hits. Eppers, Halecki, as Williams bounces this one back up the middle for a base hit and a leadoff single in the 7th.
A nice job there with 2 strikes by R.J. Williams, just getting his bat to the ball and trying to put it in play and do anything he can. You see here, he just looks to put the ball in play, and luckily for him, it got through up the middle. guy that Bowling Green wants on, and R.J. Williams to start off the inning.
It's now Doherty, a 2-run shot in the first inning. That got Bowling Green on the board early, but Ball State put together 11 straight runs unanswered at one point. Now have the 8-run advantage. Doherty lines one over the head of Maloney at third. Back-to-back base hits for Bowling Green. And now Quentin with the heart of the order for Bowling Green. They have a chance to pull something together, maybe scoop in some momentum in these last 3 innings.
Yeah, with Ryder coming up here, they won't look for him to do a sacrifice bunt and to move over the runners. They want a big bat like his to do some damage against Floyd, and expect him to have the green light on this 0-0 pitch and just take a huge hack at it.
Ryder's 1 for 3, a strikeout, flyout, and a single back in the 5th in his most recent at-bat. Pitch from Floyd, big cut from Ryder, comes up empty.
A little ahead of that pitch there from Ryder, and a tough pitch to hit all the way on that outside corner. These big power hitters love to pull the baseball, and that's a tough pitch to pull on the outer half there, and you see he was ahead of it.
Floyd, the 1-1 pitch downstairs, 2 balls, 1 strike. Floyd the pitch, the bouncing ball to third. Maloney checks the runners across the diamond and puts away Ryder. Moves both runners up 90 feet, 2 in scoring position. Brings up Greg Basilega, 1 for 3, who has a double.
Yeah, nice job there by Alex Maloney at third base. Didn't have a shot at getting him a third with nobody being on the base, and with a speedy Doherty heading towards second base, had no shot there either, so just took the simple out at first base and sent him back to the dugout.
Double for Basilega in the first, his only hit of the series. Had a .306 batting average coming into today. That is something that Basilega has prided himself on all year long, leading this Bowling Green team in batting average.
Yeah, he leads this Bowling Green team in a lot of categories, but as you've mentioned, he just hasn't been as well and as productive this inning.
Ball and a strike from Floyd to Basilega. Top half of the 7th inning, an 8-run game. Wind still blowing out for a power hitter in Basilega. 4 home runs on the season, leads this Bowling Green team, and Quentin, Bowling Green needs something here with 2 in scoring position.
Yeah, they need something big out of a guy like Basilega for him to come up with a big hit and score these 2 runs. As this game is really not far out of reach for them. 8 runs seems like a lot, but if you mark those 2 down on a big hit by Basilega here, then that just makes it a 6-run ball game. And with the wind blowing out, you never know what could happen in the next 3 innings.
Floyd the 2-2. Basilega fights, 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Although Basilega hasn't had as good of a series as he has hoped for, he's put together many good at-bats this series and has battled with the Ball State pitching staff all series. And another example of that right here, going deep into the 3-2 count.
The payoff from Floyd. Basilega swings through it. Back-to-back outs for Nick Floyd after the first 2 batters reached safely via singles. up to Derek Dravis to try and start something here in the 7th for Bowling Green.
A big hack there on that 3-2 pitch, just unable to hit that low pitch there and unable to get his bat down to it.
Floyd has struck out 2 in nearly 2 innings of relief work. Tries to set down Dravis, who's 1 for 2 today.
On that last strikeout, it looked as if Basilega was not expecting that pitch. He looked to be expecting a fastball there and got some sort of off speed from Floyd and was unable to stay back and drive it.
Checks the runners, Floyd the 1-0. And it's outside, Dravis ahead in the driver's seat 2-0. Bowling Green has 5 runs on 7 hits. Ball State with 1 error defensively. Dravis cuts, drills one to center. Epper's just a couple of feet over to his right. Glides and makes the catch. 2 runners left in scoring position for Bowling Green. It's stretch time. Easter weekend here in Muncie. Ball State up by 8. Stretch time in Muncie, Indiana. Ball State 13-5 lead over Bowling Green here today on Easter weekend. Second game of a doubleheader. Ball State 15 hits even without the big 3 that left after last season as juniors. Alex Call, Jarrett Reinflesch, and Zach Plesac all drafted in the 2016 Major League Baseball draft. Alex Call going in a 3rd-round selection to the Chicago White Sox. Now in high A baseball, hitting over 300 in minor leagues already this season. But Ball State, even without those 3, they put up 46 runs last weekend against Western Michigan in the sweep. And already this series against Bowling Green, they've put up 43 runs in nearly 3 games. And just today in the doubleheader alone, 36 runs, a whopping number with 25 in that first game.
It seems as if the seniors never left because the seniors this year have stepped up so well after being juniors last year under those 3 players that you mentioned who got drafted. The seniors this season have just been hitting the ball so well, and over the last few games, they've just really took off at the plate.
And it's Jeff Riedel, a junior transfer in the batter's box against Landy. Takes a strike to begin the bottom half of the 7th. Riedel's 1 for 2, a single, sacrifice bunt, and a ground out. Chance for Ball State to win 7 games in a row. Nearly at that as Landy induces a ground ball, 5-3 put out. Doherty throws out Riedel. Should be Ball State's longest winning streak of the season at 7 games. It's now the current longest streak in the Mid-American Conference. Western Michigan had a 5-game winning streak going into the series against Ball State. Ball State cut that in half. Now Western Michigan's lost 6 in a row as Roman Bicek comes into play.
Roman Bicek here actually has an opportunity for him to hit for the cycle today if he comes up big with a home run. I expect him to be taking some big home run cuts here.
So Bicek had a triple in the first, a double in the second, single in the third, and now swings at this one, but lifts it to left field straight away. And Scott in to retire Bicek. 2 up, 2 down for Landy, who's had some pretty successful innings, minus that 6th, where 2 runs came in to score. He had a point in which he retired 8 straight batters before that point.
Landy has looked very good all day. The only struggle that you mentioned was in the 6th inning where he led off the inning with a walk, and then that was hurt again by an error on the following play. So he's done his job, and after that error, they just weren't able to recover. And a nice job here by Alex Maloney putting the ball out into right center field and just driving that inside pitch over for a double.
Maloney pounds this to right center, another extra base hit for a senior on this team. Already has a home run today, adds a double.
Got the barrel of the bat to the baseball, and you see the outfielders out there shading their eyes, but there was no hope for them to catch that baseball as Maloney crushed it off the bat.
Going the other way with the baseball for Alex Maloney. Head coach Danny Schmitz calls time to talk things over with Tony Landy. Seen Bowling Green's bullpen active throughout the course of today. And that'll do it for Landy here today. 2 earned runs allowed after coming in relief today. Entering the ball game is Cody Brown from Perrysburg, Ohio. 6'1" junior lefty. Tossed an inning and a third. In his past 2 appearances, hasn't allowed an earned run in that span. And last year against Ball State, he came in through 2 scoreless innings. So a chance here, slow down this Ball State offense, go in and finish this thing off for Bowling Green.
Yeah, they brought him in situationally last year against Ball State, and he did his job, got them out of some big innings, and proved to pitch well in those 2 games that he came in. But I expect him here with a lefty throwing across his body. They brought him in to face Caleb Staten with that lefty-lefty matchup, and I expect him to pitch well and use his fastball and use the slight tail that he has on his fastball being a lefty against Staten.
The last time Staten faced a left-handed reliever was Nathan Lohmeyer, and Staten put one into center field on a 3-run home run in the first game earlier today. So Cody Brown looks to avoid that with Alex Maloney on base after a double.
I think the cameraman that SportsLink has out in center field are hoping to avoid that also, as they almost were hit by his home run earlier.
Wouldn't mind another Caleb Staten home run if you're a Ball State fan, but camera operators want to look out. But Brown last year had 24 appearances. That was 3rd best on the team. Came in, had a couple of saves, and last year had the 2nd most relief appearances inside the Mid-American Conference with those 24. So he does have the experience coming out of the bullpen. A reliable lefty arm for Danny Schmitz.
Now batting the first baseman, number 34.
Now Brown this year already 16 appearances before this. Now 17, leads the team.
I think a big part of him leading the team in that category is just his ability with this fastball. I mentioned the tail that it has on it, and I just sitting up here in warm-ups watching him, that ball jumps across the plate and in on lefties and outside on righties, and that's just a big thing that lefties look for nowadays, and he has some great tail on his fastball.
That one a curveball, a check swing from Staten. Didn't hold up in time. No balls, 1 strike. Here in the bottom half of the 7th, Ball State a 13-5 lead. Going for the series sweep here today.
A nice take on a close pitch there by Staten. We've mentioned multiple times that the umpire has not been giving that ball all day, and the Ball State and Bowling Green hitters both have done a great job of staying off of that outside corner pitch.
Brown pelts Staten on the right shoulder. 3rd time Staten's been on base today. We'll send it down to John Gordon.
Guys, earlier in this season, Caleb's father, who is a pastor, actually led on a Sunday game, led the team through a worship service, and that's one of the things that Caleb looks to follow in his father's footsteps, is be a pastor. The senior is great on the diamond, but he's a great player to have off the field as well. He told me that he's really looking forward, now that there's a doubleheader today, to have tomorrow off to spend the holiday with his family.
Easter Sunday, the players get off tomorrow as Kennedy pops one in the air behind home plate. Mott gives it a look, it drops foul in the bleachers.
We can give that a look too. Being up here, that ball almost landed right in our laps.
Still waiting for you with the long arms to reach out and try and catch one of those. That one may be a bit too far. But Staten has come into this season and really produced for Ball State. Last season, the 70 runs batted in, 10th in the country, and the chance for Easter weekend to relax, a doubleheader today. Get to see some family, as does the rest of the Ball State players. Everybody gets that special time.
Including ourselves, Mick.
Absolutely. See some family this weekend?
Yeah, my family actually made the trip down here from Illinois in order to visit us and just visit everyone down here and watch the broadcast from our perspective. It's pretty cool, pretty good trip.
Ball 2 strikes coming to Kennedy from Brown. How far is the drive?
Around 4 hours coming out of Chicagoland. If you leave early in the morning, you can get here in 3.5. It's not too bad of a drive.
Beat the rush hour traffic.
Correct.
Check swing from Kennedy, gets behind Mott. Both runners advance.
I know you come from a ways away, being from Utah. How long do you think it would take you to drive here?
Well, we decided to drive out my freshman year. It was a 30-hour drive, so broke it up into 3 days. It was a fun road trip, though.
I'm sure that wasn't fun with the packed car, though, having to bring all of your stuff for freshman year and drive 30 hours in a car with all of your stuff and your family as well. Sounds like a rough trip to me.
Packed the Suburban, got to see the Dakotas, Mount Rushmore. Nice trip across the Midwest and the Plains. Brown, the 2-2, ties up Kennedy on the check swing. Mott to first. Ryder holds on. The Ball State 7th inning comes up empty after 2 runners on base. Left by Cody Brown, the reliever for Bowling Green. 7 innings through, Ball State by 8. Bowling Green looks for a comeback in the last 2 innings. Sunglasses out in Muncie. Ball State fans happy with the scoreboard, 13-5. Ball State leads Bowling Green after 7 strong innings by Ball State's offense. The pitching staff, anchored by John Baker and Nick Floyd, here today. Bowling Green's schedule upcoming. They head to Youngstown State for a 1-game tilt on April 19th. And then a series against Central Michigan, the MAC's best team standing at 7-0 coming into today. And then Kent State in non-conference action and Miami in a 3-game series.
Look for them to bounce back against Youngstown State coming up before that Central Michigan series. Look to get some momentum going before they head into Central Michigan, as that will be a tough series due to Central Michigan's success this year.
Central Michigan, the lone team undefeated inside the Mid-American Conference, left as Mott fouls one off the mask of Halecki. Mott's had a good day, a walk, triple, and a run scored up to this point. Floyd in his 3rd inning of relief hasn't allowed a run against Bowling Green's offense. Floyd, the 0-2 pitch. Mott grounds one to short. Picked by Freed, crossed his body to first. Mott retired.
Beautiful play there by Freed, just swallowing up that short hop. And that's such a tough play. You've seen a lot of shortstops being able to make nowadays. Is that second hop off the turf, and he's able to come up with it and throw across his body over to first.
Part of the reason head coach Maloney wanted to move Freed from second to short, because he can make those plays and have that range. And Sean Kennedy moving around in the infield, Alex Maloney doing the same. So the infield has fluctuated for Ball State, but as of late, it seems like this lineup has really gotten it done defensively.
Yeah, this lineup has been great for them, and you mentioned Freed's range over there at shortstop. He also has a cannon throwing across the infield, and I've been impressed by him all weekend, all season actually.
Scott pulls ahead of Floyd, 2 balls, no strikes. Scott today a hit by pitch and a fly out up to this point. 1 for 2 performance, has scored a run.
Tough pitch there for Scott. Pitch right, crossed right at the knees, and he was a little iffy with the call, but we've seen a consistent umpire behind home plate, so he can miss a few here and there.
Floyd, the 2-1 pitch, belted back up the middle and through. Scott with the second base hit of the day. 3rd time he's reached base safely. Ball State on pace to complete the sweep today and add to its 6-game winning streak. Scott, a nice swing.
Yeah, Scott looked really good. That ball right at his waist, and he was able to get the bat head to it. Although it looked as if he got jammed a little bit, he was able to just muscle it out into center field and hit the ball hard.
Klansman at the plate. He's 0 for 3, a couple of ground outs and a fielder's choice. Middle infield pinching towards second and double play depth. Bowling Green trying to at least salvage 1 game, would have to do it of the comeback variety, down by 8 runs.
the lead Ball State has here. You don't even see Caleb Staten holding him on over at first base. They just want to get outs. Outs is all that they need right now, up 8 runs.
8 hits on the evening for Bowling Green. 5 runs to show for, 1 Ball State error. And Floyd falls behind 3-1 to Glansman.
As I mentioned, Staten not holding him on over there. He slides in behind the runner, and he's actually holding him on currently.
Modest lead at first for Scott. Glansman a check swing. Went inside, and head coach Maloney of Ball State wants a foul ball off of the handle of the bat. But instead, they issue him first base on the ball 4. Back-to-back base runners off of Nick Floyd. Back to the top of the order and Jake Wilson.
I think they're going to say that ball hit his hand rather than hit his bat, because we'll see here. Yeah, unable to tell.
Almost went around on the swing. But a chance for Bowling Green to put something on the board with its star freshman. Mid-American Conference preseason favorite to win Freshman of the Year. Watches the first one go by. Halecki behind the backstop. Both runners advance 90 feet.
A tough pitch to judge there for Halecki. Although it won't be credited as a wild pitch. This is just a tough pitch to handle as a catcher there.
Wilson is 0 for 3, did walk and scored a run in the first inning. Has reached another time on a defensive error by Ball State.
The previous pass ball could play huge for Ball State and eliminating their opportunity at getting a double play, moving those runners from second and third instead of being at first and second.
Floyd the 1-1 inside to Wilson. (13-5) Ball State, top of the 8th. Sun shining in Muncie on Easter weekend. Wilson pounds the ball to first base. Staten takes a look at the runners, but goes to first instead. A fielder's choice and an RBI for Wilson, his 18th on the season, and Bowling Green adds a run here in the top of the 8th.
A good job on all aspects of the field. You see a ground ball there to first base. A nice play by Staten, taking the out, and even though the run scores at this point, you just want outs. And also a good job by Bowling Green there, putting the ball in play to the right side and scoring that runner from third.
Williams is 1 for 4, a single in the 7th, but a pair of strikeouts. Takes a first pitch strike. It's the first run scored off of Floyd in relief.
RJ Williams' swing right there looked very good. Had the head of the bat right on the baseball and was able to foul that pitch straight back. If he gets on top of that ball a little bit more, he can drive that pitch into right center.
Floyd the 0-2, upstairs.
Mick, with an 0-2 count, are you a fan of going right at these hitters, or are you a fan of just taking a pitch off and trying to get them to chase?
Upstairs fastball always seems to be a good pitch.
I would agree with that. That was always my go-to as a pitcher, is trying to get him to bite on a fastball at the numbers.
This time it's the inside corner. Williams down on strikes for the 3rd time today. Bowling Green does play to run here in the top half of the 8th inning. Ball State leads by 7 runs, 13-6 here in Muncie. Easter weekend baseball doubleheader on ESPN3. Ball State putting up the runs here today. 13-6 lead against Bowling Green. Bottom half of the 8th inning as Ball State tries to extend its lead against this Bowling Green's Falcon team and try and take the sweep here in Game 3. Ball State's upcoming schedule: they take on Purdue on the road April 18th and then travel to Buffalo in Buffalo's last season with the baseball program as they are disbanding their program after the 2017 year, and then get to play against Indiana at Victory Field. A fun game there for Ball State and Indiana. In-state rivalry, get to play it. The Indianapolis Indians home field, and then at Northern Illinois for a 3-game set inside Mid-American Conference play.
I would not be surprised to see Ball State steal a couple games from those in-state teams like Purdue and Indiana. But the way they've been playing lately, I don't even know if those teams can play with this Ball State team right now.
Win today gives Ball State 7 in a row. The 2 straight weekends with the sweep, first with Western Michigan, now against Bowling Green. That comes after being swept by Kent State and then Ohio, so complete flip 180 for this Ball State offense especially. Free to the plate, draws a 4-pitch walk off of Cody Brown, so quick 4 pitches, and Freed's on base for the 2nd time today. So Trent Tyson had a strong day at the plate, finished up with a walked single and a hit by pitch. Reached base safely 3 times, drove in a run, but instead of Tyson, it comes Colin Brockhouse, who DH'd the first 2 games of the series.
Yeah, you want to bring him in here and face a righty-lefty matchup rather than having a lefty-lefty matchup that you would have with Tyson. Although I have noticed today Cody Brown has not been effective against lefties. He just walked Freed, who's a lefty, and he also hit earlier Caleb Staten, who's a lefty. So he's been unable to command his pitches against lefties today.
Eager to swing at the first pitch, Brockhouse pops it up shallow left field, and all the way back from shortstop, Glansman makes the play to set down Brockhouse on 1 pitch. Both shortstops, impressive days in the field, ranging back from their normal spots, going to the deep shortstop position or shallow left field. A couple of nice plays here from Glansman lately. That's Griffin Alecki, the catcher for Ball State. 2 for 4 day with 3 runs batted in, single, double, 2 runs scored.
We've seen Halecki take huge cuts all day at the plate and been able to connect on a few of them, but also has swung and missed and struck out a few times today.
This one swung and hit right off the catcher's mask of Mott.
It's common courtesy by the umpires to go out there and give the catchers a little break and talk to the pitcher or throw the pitcher the ball after a foul ball like that hits off the mask of Mott.
Brown the 1-1 pitch, and Halecki's down in the count, 1 ball, 2 strikes. For Ball State over the past several games, this offense continues to hit, in a luxury to have Halecki and Eppers bat 7 and 8. This time Halecki goes down swinging against Brown for the 2nd out. But 13 runs here today through nearly 8 innings here in Muncie against Bowling Green. Ball State had 25 in the first game. And in the past 7 games, a whopping 100 runs scored by this Ball State offense.
This offense has just been unstoppable on all aspects. Hitting extra base hits and getting the job done really with runners in scoring position. Good job by Freed there, reading the ball in the dirt, and not unable to come up with the wild pitch there from Brown.
An average of over 14 runs a game for Ball State's offense. Matt Eppers has been a huge part of that. 2 doubles, 2 runs batted in, 2 runs. And he also found out that he's going to be able to graduate with an entrepreneurial management degree. Found out the other day. So a hearty congratulations to Eppers. That's the same program that Alex Call went through, who was drafted by the White Sox. He finished school in 3 years, was able to leave school early with a degree, and now he's in Major League Baseball. Eppers, in 4 years, ready to graduate with that degree.
Alex Call, you mentioned, he created a healthy cookie sort of for his entrepreneurial idea that he had, and I'm still waiting to try one of those. I've heard great things about them.
I've only heard good things about those. Alex Call, on the field, smarts, baseball IQ. Matt Eppers brings that same type of attitude, mentality. He's got a 2-2 count against Brown. I've always thought of trying to make an invention of something, but I've never been able to figure out what it should be. And I've always spent like countless hours at home trying to figure out something, but I've never been able to come up with anything. Have you?
No, I go through the same thing all the time in my mind. I'm just thinking like, what could I invent that's different, that betters this world or has an impact somehow? And I'm just always like, all right, I like that idea, I'll look it up. And there's already 5 items that have already been invented.
Alex Call, a tough task. We'll see if Quentin can maybe come up with something over the Easter weekend. Eppers draws the count full. That's not fair of me to ask you in a weekend to try and come up with something, but
maybe this weekend I could take all of the extra base hits and make like a statue of baseballs from Ball State.
I mean, that would not a bad idea, especially with Chuck over there, the new mascot for Ball State. Closing in on 7 straight wins.
Maybe you can make Chuck a little crown of home run balls. Incredible at bat here by the senior Eppers. He's seen so many pitches this at bat. You talk about quality at bats as seeing 7 or more pitches, and he's well over that mark right now, just doing a great job staying alive here.
Full count pitch. Eppers drills it, but foul. Another pitch upcoming, 8th to the at bat from Brown. Bottom half of the 8th. Ball State 13, Bowling Green 6. Payoff pitch is in.
The right fielder, number 4, Jeff Riedel.
Jeff Riedel at the dish for Ball State. Chance with 2 outs to potentially extend Ball State's 7-run lead. Riedel had a single in the 3rd, a sacrifice bunt earlier today. 1 for 3 on the afternoon.
All day we've seen Riedel play a key part in just doing things for the team. He's been a key team player in the 9 spot in this lineup.
First pitch swinging, pops it to right field. Couple of players ranging back for Bowling Green, and it's Dravis in front of Williams to corral it, puts away Freed. The scoreless bottom half of the 8th for Cody Brown. 3 outs away. Ball State can come up with a sweep against Bowling Green on Easter weekend. Through 8 innings, Ball State a 13-6 lead against Bowling Green. 3 outs away for TJ Baker and Ball State's pitching staff to cap off a sweep of Bowling Green. Baker's 2nd appearance in this series came in the first game yesterday. 3 quick outs, earned his save, his 3rd of the season.
Yeah, he threw very well yesterday, just commanding the strike zone and shutting down these Bowling Green hitters. Bowling Green, they like where they're at right now with the hitters that they have coming up. Obviously, the scoreboard isn't where they want it to be, but with 2, 3, 4 coming up to the plate, leading off with Doherty here, they have exactly who they want at the plate and expect them to score a couple runs this inning.
TJ Baker this year comes in with a 1-0 record, 2.66 ERA. Team high 3 saves on the year. First pitch to Doherty's in there for a strike. Nearly 24 innings tossed. 29 strikeouts to 10 walks for Baker. And he works ahead 0-2 against Doherty.
Nasty curveball there from Baker that just started right at the shoulder of Doherty and broke all the way across the zone to the outside corner of the plate. Just a filthy pitch there.
Bowling Green with a hot start, 4 runs in the first inning. It was started by Doherty, a 2-run home run, and Ball State put a run on the board in that bottom of the first. Momentum changed, Ball State 3 runs in the second, and then the big inning. 7 runs in the third, aided by a couple of doubles. Matt Eppers, Griffin Alecki getting in with runs batted in. And ever since that point, Ball State's taken over a 13-6 advantage. And now it's time to close it out, TJ Baker.
Baker going back to that curveball that he threw earlier in the at-bat for a strike and unable to get the call on a good pitch there that broke. Looked like it was going to hit Doherty, and then it broke perfectly into the inside corner of the zone.
On a bite to it. Another curveball, this one at the knees. Froze Doherty, and Baker, one batter and a strikeout.
A good job there by Baker. A lot of times with 3-2, you don't see guys going to curveballs, but he's able to throw it for a strike and just a perfect pitch there on the inner half of Doherty at the plate.
As Ryder and Basilega, 2 biggest run producers at the plate for Bowling Green, to try and finish this one off for Baker and give Ball State the series sweep, win 7 in a row.
Baker utilizing all pitches in all spots of the plate, just working around the plate and doing a great job so far this inning.
Ryder 1 for 4 today, froze by the curveball. 12-6 looking good from Baker.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's one of the best pitches I've seen on this Ball State pitching staff is the curveball that TJ Baker has. Just such a bite to it and really just breaks great across the zone.
Baker the 1-2, Ryder fouls it off. This comes after a season where TJ Baker tried to recover from an arm injury, rehab, tried to get back into condition, and then now this season counted to be a closer and have a role just like B.J. Butler's had in the past. TJ Baker's had that chance, and he's starting to run away with it, and head coach Maloney's been so happy with the way that Baker's been able to recover.
Yeah, Baker has recovered well, and he hasn't had to recover when he's been pitching because he's just been so good. He hasn't put himself into bad situations that he's needed to recover from, so he's just doing a great job out there.
Baker the 1-2.
Ryder got jammed on that pitch. I wouldn't be surprised if Baker goes back to the curveball here that looks like it will go in on the hands of Ryder and just break straight into the inside part of the plate.
Especially against Ryder, a player who has had so much success this season for Bowling Green. Came into this series on a hot streak, 9-game winning streak, but only 1 hit throughout the course of these 3 games. Evens up the count, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Similar pitch there to the first strike we saw. Good job hitting the glove of Griffin Halecki on the outer half of the plate, just a little bit too far outside.
Ryder gets a hold of an inside pitch. Bice on the run, sliding attempt, foul.
A good run there by Biasa all the way over to the foul line, and a good effort, but ball luckily was foul for Ball State. Otherwise, that could have been extra bases.
Ryder hasn't driven in a run in this series after driving in 4 against Kent State in midweek action. Faces a 2-2 count from Baker. Flies it straightaway center. Eppers there. Ball State 1 out away from sweeping Bowling Green. And instead of Greg Basilega to the plate, Bowling Green's head coach Danny Schmitz sends Joe McGinnis, who had 2 hits in the pinch hit opportunity in the first game of the doubleheader today.
Yeah, he played well in the first game. He was able to put the barrel of the bat on the ball and just hit the ball hard a couple of times. And there's a reason why he's hitting in this situation for Basilega right now.
Basilega has struggled, did double in his first at-bat, but a fly-out, fielder's choice, and a strikeout. Coach Schmitz wants to go with the righty on lefty matchup.
One thing that I love about TJ Baker is just his ability to work ahead and hit his locations from Halecki all over the strike zone.
McGinnis, big swing on the 0-1 pitch in the infield. 3 players come together. TJ Baker, the pitcher, calls them off. And Ball State ends it. A sweep of Bowling Green this weekend extends its winning streak to now 7 games. Longest current active streak inside the Mid-American Conference. Ball State even 6-6 in the MAC this year, now 18-18. Easter weekend success for Ball State, a sweep of Bowling Green in Muncie. Welcome back out to Muncie, Indiana, 13-6. Victory for Ball State against Bowling Green, a sweep for Ball State. 7 straight wins for this Cardinal team led by head coach Rich Maloney. Successful Easter weekend, Quentin.
Yeah, they played very well all weekend. They were able to come up with the sweep and move that winning streak far beyond where they thought it could be when they started this streak.
Ball State with the 7-run victory against Bowling Green. Bowling Green had a couple of nice plays early on, a Cam Doherty home run, but it was also some extra RBIs.
Yeah, Jeff Scott there with the base hit in the first inning. They scored 4 runs in the first inning, and we looked to be moving on the offensive side, but as soon as Ball State switched up their pitchers and had some timely hitting between Matt Eppers and Roman Biasa there with the triple, they just really controlled they really controlled the plate and the game. Matt Eppers, you see there driving that low pitch out in the left center field. We saw him do that a pair of times today.
Eppers had a successful day, but so did Alex Maloney. A 2-run shot here to help Ball State extend its lead, and Bowling Green could never recover after that. There's that Maloney home run. Ball State continued to put together RBIs as Jeff Riedel got in on the action with Ball State. Matt Eppers scoring a couple of runs here today. Eppers 2 for 4, a couple of doubles, and a Sean Kennedy RBI off the glove of Glansman into left field.
Yeah, overall for this Ball State offense, led by Alex Maloney in the top of the lineup, and all top to bottom, they were just efficient today and were able to put together so many extra base hits, which led them to victory against this Bowling Green team.
Alex Maloney pulls up with a double in his final at-bat. The Wave riding a 7-game winning streak for Ball State here today. And Ball State with an 18-18 record, Quentin. They've got a couple of midweek games throughout the course of the rest of the season. But when you look at this team and how they've started to stack up, 18-18, best as good as anybody right now in the Mid-American Conference.
Yeah, not just in the Mid-American Conference too. You see they play Purdue coming up this week, and I expect them to battle against Purdue and possibly beat them. And you know, with Chuck the Cardinal in the dugout, anything is possible with this team right now, and with their offense producing as well as they are.
And the pitching staff, Quentin, has done a nice job. It was B.J. Butler, the first game that came out, got the victory almost through a complete game, lasted 8 innings in that first game. In game 2, Ball State put up 25 runs. And here in the final game, a 13-6 victory for Ball State against Bowling Green. Well, that does it here from Muncie, Indiana in this Easter weekend action. For analyst Quentin Zilke, field reporter John Gordon, our producer J.C. Obringer, and our director Corey Stace. So long from Muncie, Indiana, where Ball State wins 13-6. To watch this entire game on replay as well as other games on our family of ESPN networks, log on to Watch ESPN. This has been a presentation of ESPN.